What's up, Straight Talk Society? This is your host, Trevor, and I'm back with another episode of Straight Talk with Trevor.
Because the ladies from Pour Your Heart Out
no topic
will be over
is
here
off
to
limits.
join the panel.
Plus, but it's a must, you don't respect this. Plus, your nuts will touch the dust, you try to check this. You ain't
The
insane,
MMA brothers, Bones and Zay, have pre and post shows to the MMA shows, and I am your host, Mr. Straight Talk, the man with the greatest beard on YouTube.
I'm gonna tell you something. Facial hair is not apostolic. However you want to cut it, it's compromise. I don't care if your leader says you can wear a beard, honey. Beard's nothing more than pride. You're not going to be dipped in Holy Ghost oil and run around looking like the world.
Oh, I love throwing that in there. Real quick, I am back on Facebook. I guess they took me out of jail. I was able to connect the channel back. Those of you on Facebook, make sure and hit that like, share, and subscribe button.
And also on Mondays, 6 o'clock, tune in to the same channel for Man Talk Monday. Trust me, you ain't got nothing better to do. Even if you think you do and you tune into that show, you're going to realize, oh, man, I'm tripping. I've been missing this.
Yeah. Because this is why you need me.
Once you listen to that, drop a like. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel because you're hard-headed, go ahead and subscribe to it
They
now.
are goofy.
And when you listen to that, if you haven't subscribed, you're going to want to subscribe. And then you're going to want to go back through the archives. And you're going to want to catch up on all your Man Talk Mondays. And then you might be able to find a few Bible debates in there.
That's what I'm going to say. TFP politics is on Tuesday.
Vancat, Mike, MD, and Ricardo do such a fantastic job with that. That's every Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
My position is impregnable. You can't do it.
If that doesn't fancy your boat,
Yeah, Wrestling with Reality on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, acknowledge.
we have the return of Straight Talk therapy sessions with the one and only Dr. Mia. So y'all be sure and tune into that.
And then you got the Bible debates on Thursdays.
So, yeah, man, lock in with the Straight Talk Society, man, because you won't regret it, and we appreciate it. Also, milk coming out, too. Look out for the merch. And if y'all can be so kind as to subscribe to the channel, it's only $1.99 a month. With all this premium content that we pushing out, it's definitely worth it. It just helps provide the channel with a resource to give y'all even better content, as if it can get better, right? But, you know, just go ahead and show us some love. We would be greatly appreciative.
The Straight Talk Society. We will not go over that 2.5 hour mark. So, Mike, you know you ain't got no shirt on, right?
I never have clothes on, bro.
But I'm saying you like right on the like crazy.
My bad. I don't like clothes, bro. Anybody that knows me, my fault.
Crazy.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
What is up, Straight Talk Society? This is your boy Trevor. Hey, I just want to thank you guys for rocking out with me for these past couple of years. But guess what? I'm so excited to announce the opening of our merch store. You got it right. So if you want to show your support, show everybody that you're down with the Straight Talk Society, go on over to www.thestraighttalksociety.bigcartel.com and pick up a shirt, pick up a hoodie, pick up a hat, pick up a mug. Hey, let everybody know what time it is. Let everybody know that you are Team Straight Talk Society.
Hey, what are you waiting for? Support the Straight Talk Society by getting some merch. Do you really believe that garbage?
It's not about a believing, it's a matter of fact.
So you believe.
Well, nobody else could make a decision but me because I was the president, and the final decision comes to the president.
You know, it's easy enough for a Monday morning quarterback to say what the coach should have done after the game's over. But when the decision is up before you, and on my desk I have a motto which says the buck stops here, the decision has to be made.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
And I want to say this to the television audience. I made my mistakes, but in all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent. And in all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice. And I think, too, that I could say that in my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination, because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
President?
Yep.
Mr. President, I want to raise an issue that I think you've been lurking out there for 2 or 3 weeks and casting specifically in national security terms. You already are the oldest president in history, and some of your staff say you were tired after your most recent encounter with Mr. Mondale. I recall yet that President Kennedy had to go for days on end with very little sleep during the Cuba Missile Crisis. Is there any doubt in your mind that you would be able to function in such circumstances?
Not at all, Mr. Truitt, and I want you to know that also I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience.
And I'm the one who will not raise taxes. My opponent now says he'll raise them as a last resort or a third resort. But when a politician talks like that, you know that's one resort he'll be checking into. And my opponent won't rule out raising taxes, but I will, and the Congress will push me to raise taxes, and I'll say no. And they'll push, and I'll say no. And they'll push again, and I'll say to them, read my lips. No new taxes.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
You're full of shit.
All right, thank you.
No, shush. Shush.
In any country, prison is where society sends its failures. But in this country, society itself is failing.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
We won the evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Niggas, you crazy.
Grab him by the pussy.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Stay shut your mouth, because you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I did.
Hold it, tough guy. I'm not afraid of physical.
Hold it. Don't sit there and tell me I'm not.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, we can't get fooled again.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. Stand back and stand by with your
Last thing was Olivia Gondak. It says that I wanted to eat her pussy. Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life tour. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
You gotta come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Okay. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. We now have a gun on every table. We're ready to start shooting.
By the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man.
Sarcastically.
That was...
Even though they're trying to impeach the son of a bitch. Can you believe that? That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
If I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was going to ask one other.
I don't want reality. I'm asking the question, which one is better? That's exactly what it is.
Got it on tape.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
I don't like words that hide the truth. I don't like words that conceal reality. I don't like euphemisms or euphemistic language. And American English is loaded with euphemisms because Americans have a lot of trouble dealing with reality. Americans have trouble facing the truth. So they invent a kind of a soft language to protect themselves from it. And it gets worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse.
How stupid are these politicians to allow this to happen?
If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution every poll?
No, sit down. Oh, you're a clown. Sit down. Look at you.
You're saying it's a falsehood, and they're giving Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts. Alternative facts. Alternative facts. Alternative facts.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your.
I ain't talking politics. I'm talking life.
I ain't talking politics. I'm talking life.
All right, here we go again. Here we go for another Tuesday, another TFP Tuesday, Tape Fits Politics. I am Venkat. At the moment, I'm not with the world's most dangerous political panel, but they'll be here shortly. So to start the show, this show is episode number 41, and we're just going to look at the aftermath of the debate, the fallout with the debate, and all the questions that are presently being asked. Should Biden stay? Should Biden truck on and continue pushing? So to set up the stage, we're going to look back at an interview that Joe Biden conducted with George Stephanopoulos on ABC News. We'll also take a look at a segment of the Morning Joe interview he had about a day or so ago. And we'll try to dive into what's going on with the Biden campaign, what's going on with Democrats, and what we can make heads and tails out of this. So before we start in here, let's just go ahead and look at the first video here. And this is an excerpt from Biden's interview with George Stephanopoulos on ABC News.
Let me ask you a tougher, more personal question. Are you sure you're being honest with yourself when you say you have the mental and physical capacity to serve another 4 years?
Yes, I am, because, George, the last thing I want to do is not be able to meet that. I think, as some of the senior economists and senior foreign policy specialists say, if I stop now, I'd go down in history as a pretty successful president. No one thought I could get done what we got done.
But are you being honest with yourself as well about your ability to defeat Donald Trump right now?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
You say that, and let me challenge you. Sure. Because you were close, but behind going into the debate. You're further behind now by any measure. It's been a two-man race for several months. Inflation has come down. In those last few months, he's become a convicted felon, yet you're still falling further behind.
You guys keep saying that. George, you know polling better than anybody. Do you think polling data is accurate as it used to be?
I don't think so, but I think when you look at all of the polling data right now, it shows that he's certainly ahead in the popular vote, probably even more ahead in the battleground states. And one of the other key factors there is it shows that in many of the battleground states, the Democrats who are running for Senate and the House are doing better than you are.
Well, that's not unusual in some states. I carried an awful lot of Democrats last time I ran in 2020. Look, I remember them telling me the same thing in 2020. I can't win. The polls show I can't win. Remember 2020, the red wave was coming. Before the vote, I said, that's not going to happen. We're going to win. We did better in an off year than almost any incumbent president ever has done. They said in 2023, all the tough races, we're not going to win. I went into all those areas, all those districts, and we won.
All that is true, but 2020 was a close race. And your approval rating has dropped significantly since then. I think the last poll I saw was at about 36%. The number of Americans who think you're too old to serve has doubled since 2020. Wouldn't a clear-eyed political calculus tell you that it's going to be much tougher to win in 2024?
Not when you're running against a pathological liar. Not when he hadn't been challenged in a way that he's about to be challenged. Not when people...
You've had months to challenge him.
Oh, I sure had months, but I was also doing a hell of a lot of other things, like wars around the world, like keeping NATO together, like working... Anyway. But look...
Do you really believe you're not behind right now?
I think it's all the pollsters I talk to tell me it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. And when I'm behind, there's only one poll I'm really far behind, CBS poll and NBC, and...
New York Times and NBC both have you about 6 points behind in the popular vote.
That's exactly right. New York Times had me behind before anything happened to do with this race. Had me behind 10 points. 10 points had me behind. Nothing's changed substantially in the debate, the New York Times poll.
Just when you look at the reality, though, Mr. President, I mean, you won the popular vote in 2020, but it was still deadly close in the Electoral College.
7 million votes.
Yes, but you're behind now in the popular vote.
I don't buy that.
Is it worth the risk?
I don't think anybody's more qualified to be president or win this race than me.
You know, the heart of your case against Donald Trump is that he's only out for himself, putting his personal interest ahead of the national interest. How do you respond to critics who say that by staying in the race, you're doing the same thing?
Oh, come on. Well, I don't think those critics know what they're talking about.
They're just wrong?
They're just wrong. Look, Trump is a pathological liar. Trump is, he is, Have you ever seen anything Trump did that benefited somebody else, not him? You can't answer, I know.
I've questioned him and his allies as persistently as any journalist has.
No, I know you have. I'm not being critical.
Yeah.
I'm not being critical. But look, I mean, the man is a congenital liar. As I said, they pointed out in that debate he lied 28 times the Times, or whatever number, over 20 times. Talk about how good his economy was, how he brought down inflation, how this is a guy who, unlike only other president other than him is Hoover, lost more jobs than he created. This is a guy who told us to put bleach in our arms to deal with COVID, when over a million people died. This is a guy who talks about wanting to get rid of the healthcare provisions we put in place. This is a guy who wants to give the power back to big pharma to be able to charge exorbitant prices for drugs. This is a guy who wants to undo every single thing I've done. Every single thing.
I understand that. I understand that's why you want to stay in the race. But have you convinced yourself that only you can defeat him?
I convinced myself of two things. I'm the most qualified person to beat him, and I know how to get things done.
If you can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump, will you stand down?
It depends if the Lord Almighty comes out and tells me that, I might do that.
Well, I mean, on a more practical level, Washington Post just reported in the last hour that Senator Mark Warner is assembling a group of senators together to try and convince you to stand down because they don't think you can win.
Well, Mark is a good man. We've never had that. He also tried to get the nomination too. Mark and I have a different perspective. I respect him.
And if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate, how will you respond?
I go into detail with them. I've spoken to all of them in detail, including Jim Clyburn. Every one of them. They all said I should stay in the race. Stay in the race. None of the people said I should leave.
But if they do?
Well, it's like, they're not going to do that.
You sure?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Look, I mean, if the Lord Almighty came down and said, Joe, get out of the race, I get out of the race, the Lord Almighty's not coming down. I mean, these hypotheticals, George, But
it's not that hypothetical anymore. I grant that they have not requested the meeting, but it's been reported.
I've met with them. I've met with a lot of these people. I've talked with them regularly. I had an hour conversation with Hakeem. I had more time than that with Jim Clyburn. I spent time with many hours off and on the last little bit with Chuck Schumer. It's not like I had all the governors. I
agree that the Lord Almighty is not going to come down, but if you are told reliably from your allies, from your friends and supporters in the Democratic Party, in the House and the Senate, that they're concerned you're going to lose the House and the Senate if you stay in, what will you do?
I'm not going to answer that question. It's not going to happen.
What's your plan to turn the campaign around?
You saw it today. How many people do you draw crowds like I drew today? You find me any more enthusiastic than today? Huh?
I mean, I don't think you want to play the crowd game. Donald Trump can draw big crowds. There's no question about that.
He can draw a big crowd, but what does he say? Who does he have? I'm the guy supposedly in trouble. We raised $38 million within 4 days after this. We have over 1 million individual contributors. Less than $200. I've not seen what you're proposing.
You haven't seen the fall off in the polls. You haven't seen the reports of discontent in the Democratic Party, House Democrats, Senate Democrats.
I've seen it from the press.
All right. There's Joe Biden from the George Stephanopoulos interview on ABC News. Just off the top, I could just see that was so weird, him talking about his crowd size. I don't understand what that is or what is he doing, trying to take a page out of Trump's book. But right now we have one of the members of the world's most dangerous political panel. We got MD20. What's going on, MD?
Peace, peace. What's going on? What's happening? Hey, look, Van Cat, don't do that. That whole interview was a sham. It,
It was
it, it was al- it was almost as if he was forced to go that route through the wording of the question of stepping off. That was ridiculous. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you, Van Cat. That
so
interview
you feel
was
like
ridiculous.
you felt like he had an agenda to kind of force the interview a certain way?
Yes, 100%.
Mm.
100%. Listen to the word. We can play that clip again, and I can count on my hands and on my feet how many times George Stephanopoulos reiterated the same question just with different wording every time. Let's keep it real, Van Cat.
Oh man,
That's
I mean,
why
yeah.
it needed to happen live, because I think Trump would have went a different route had it went live. Just go and we're gonna get into it later. Stark contrast between that interview, which was taped, versus the Morning Joe interview. Stark contrast.
Right. Oh
And
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
you can clearly see that on both interviews lit a fire under Biden's ass. Let's not keep it real. But in a position where Biden knew that this was a critical mass in terms of the viewership versus a surprise interview on Morning Joe, gave Joe Biden the credibility to pretty much show his ass, which he did not want to do on the George Stephanopoulos interview, which is understandable. But again, when you keep trouncing me and basically forcing me into having a position as to where it stands in terms of where I am in my campaign, I'm not going to allow you to do that. I'm just not. He asked Joe Biden 3 times consecutively about him meeting up with top Democratic politicians in regards to him dropping out of the race. He kept telling you, I've talked to these people already. They've advised me not to step down and step out of the election. And then Stephanopoulos asked again in a different way. Biden told him again, I've talked to these people. Well, what if it happens? Jackass, I've already talked to these people. That's what Biden was saying in his head. So it was clearly an agenda in that Stephanopoulos interview. It was horrible. It made Biden look horrible. And I'm to the point now, I'm to the point as of right now, all of these people that are obstructing the forwarding of the Biden campaign, blue MAGA is what I call them. People tell me, oh, blue MAGA means that you ride or die with Biden no matter what. No, and I never knew that. But I look at blue MAGA as what it is that pertains to the ideology. MAGA within itself is no compromise, steam ahead, agenda driven conservatism. That's what MAGA is. On the other hand, you have blue MAGA, which is basically trying to drain, quote unquote, drain the swamp when it comes to what they call, quote unquote, establishment Democrats, and there's no compromise on the left side. And now you're using this opportunity with Biden to create derision within the Democratic Party and not look ahead at what is truly at stake, which is the process of democracy in and of itself. I call you blue MAGA, that's what you are. The mainstream media is that label, and I don't rock with them. Point blank, period. Until they can get on tune with what's really the threat, they trash to me.
And that's the other thing too, is that this happened in 1968 when they replaced the Democratic candidate,
Hubert Humphrey,
and it didn't work out that great for the Democrats.
The same exact thing happened. The blue MAGA of that age, the progressive, no war Democrats split the Democratic ticket with Hubert Humphrey, and then you got your boy crooked Richard Nixon in as a result.
Which he kind of parallels Trump,
man,
with his criminal activities.
What did they say, Van Cat? There's nothing new under the sun.
Nope. So on the panel we got right now, Mike. Mike is right. What's going on, Mike?
I've changed my name to the sign like Prince. That is others in Punjabi.
Oh my God.
Thank
What's
you for
your
having
take
me.
here? What's your take here on the Biden situation?
Uh, I'm confused, right? It looked like they were trying to make him look unstable. It looked like they were trying to make him look old, which he already is. And I, I'm just confused. Like, if they ran out Bernie because he was old, why did they think this was going to work? Because last time I saw Bernie, he sounds like a fresh 40-year-old talking that smack. He sounded like MD with like, but with the hammock and the tent.
Well,
So
they ran out Bernie because he was too progressive. That's why they ran him out.
exactly, and that's my problem. My problem is if you knew what this man was. This man is a centrist. This man is not progressive, but you touted him as the best that the party could do. Now it seems like you want to sabotage it, and it just leaves me confused. But then hearing you say the words "blue MAGA," it makes it so. It reminds me of when Obama won and had half, and he had both parties, not both parties, but the House and the Senate. But there were so-called Democrats who were just there to stab him up and to ruin the so-called majority they had. It's like we're right back in the same thing. It seems like this is the reason I wish I was white so I could be Republican, because the Democrats never have their ish together. They never do. It's at any given point in time, they will shoot themselves in the foot just to get a drink of something. You know what I'm saying? They're the type to, I'm thirsty, let me shoot my own foot so I could drink my blood instead of turning on the faucet. Instead of getting some new blood, instead of, I don't know, pushing for him to win the nomination and then advocate, let's destroy him before he gets in so it makes Trump look better. And to keep it a buck, this pretty much coincides with my prediction. So I want all of y'all, I'm giving you another chance. I'm giving you an olive branch. Jump on my bandwagon. Trump's going to win, and we're all going to hell. Anybody?
Trump ain't winning.
Okay. All right. Hey, they just made Trump's number one rival look like, in consecutive TV appearances that I've seen, look like a decrepit old man that shouldn't be anywhere near the button. You think those independents that MD thinks exists didn't see that? You think them independents that MD talked about last time that I was here didn't go, I don't want that old man near the fridge, much less near the button or the football. You think that didn't happen? You think they didn't just go, at least Trump is lively? You think they didn't see that? All right. Okay. You'll see.
I just think that there's just so many I mean, maybe I'm being optimistic, but I just think like we've seen Trump. He's running from Project 2025. He's like, I don't know. He just, in the history of politics, he's the worst candidate ever. He has so much baggage. He has everything that you wouldn't want on him. And now there are for some reason, like he gets arrested and he gets indicted, he gets a whatever, and then they give him more money. Yeah, that's fine. But I think at the end of the day, when it becomes time to put away childish things and adults come into the room and they're like, oh crap, it's November, let's get serious now, I think reality will set in.
Sir,
Exactly.
need I remind you that I'll ask it another way. Venkat, when we were kids, how old was grandma? On an average, how old was the average grandmother? Just give me a guess.
I would say in the 60s. maybe 70s,
Today, how old are grandmas?
40s.
So, sir, the children are the adults. There is no adults coming to save you. Those wizened, creased, Mimas and Medeas and all, they don't exist. Okay? We have grown old thoughts that want to hit the club and ain't babysitting. They're the adults now. There is no one coming to say, sir, you, I, and MD are the adults. Think about that. I claim to be the dumbest person that gets to be on this show regularly.
That's
And I'm
not
smarter than
true.
most of them.
That is not true.
It is highly true. Didn't you hear the
Oh,
stuff
boy.
MD was saying earlier? He was like, yeah, because blue MAGA and other words that I would never say, and other words that were really smart that I had to look up on online and on Google. He was saying a whole bunch of stuff. And think about it. You heard what I just said? He said words that I had to look up on Google. There is a plethora in the population that will never look it up because they don't want to know. If you don't say it, it is what it is. You remember growing up when your mama say, hey, go look it up in the encyclopedia? How many people actually did it? I was one of the idiots that did it because my mom got a Britannica. I don't know where she got that money from because they were expensive as hell back in the day. And I had a Black history book with all the Black facts in it. That's why I'm the way I am. I was interested to go look at it. How many people would just go, nah, I'm good? All
I
those
remember.
non
I
good
remember they used
people.
to come door to door selling Britannica. That's how
Yes.
I got a set.
Hey, and that's how I got it. My mom was like, that my son needs that. But guess
Yeah.
what? All those people that would look in the book, they're adults. But all those people who wouldn't look in the book, they're adults too. And they can vote. And there are a
Yeah.
lot more of them than there are of us. There are a lot more of there are a lot more people. Yo, there are people who listen to all the Kendrick Lamar disses when he said circadian rhythms. And there were people who knew what it meant. Then there were people who didn't know what it meant who were like, man, I wonder what that means. And then there were people who just said, wow, that was hard. And you go, what does that mean? I don't know, but it sounded smart. That's who's voting.
Well, I mean, a lot of what you say, Mike, it always has relevancy and it makes sense. But I just think that even though what you're saying is plausible, I don't think it will happen.
You know what?
And
That's
it's
the
an
problem
optics
with
issue.
you. Say it
Remember,
again,
we
MD?
talked about we talked about optics last week, right? It's an
Yep.
optics issue. The problem with optics is, especially when you're dealing with dumbass people, the problem with optics is it usually don't last that long.
Hello.
Right. Right.
Something else will catch their eye. You know what I'm
Hello.
saying? So in that respect, I can get your point, Mike, but we still got 3.5 months basically to the election. The other
Yeah.
point, Stephanopoulos was kept going back to the polls. I don't know if you've seen the latest polls, Van Cat. I'm talking about like the mainstream poll. Hell, there's some polls saying that Biden is up. But let's just give them a pass and say that Biden's still showing that it's down. How much did it bump up from the debate? Only damn near a point and a half. So what are we talking about? That's still within the margin of error.
Right. That's
On
true.
the side track, just to give a comparison, everybody and their mama was saying, and I even said it, that France was about to be an authoritarian state. I said that a couple of weeks ago. The poll suggested by a large margin that what was going to happen. What happened? The people said no to authoritarianism and voted the extreme left in, not even the center, the extreme left. So
Yep.
the hell with the poll. I don't give a damn about no poll.
Yeah, and we're gonna take a look at the UK and France election results
Can I say one
later in
thing,
the
sir?
show. Yeah,
One
go
thing,
ahead,
sir.
sir.
I need you to understand something. If every time I speak, you say, man, what you said makes sense, holds relevance, and seems to hold a sense of non-moronic mental fortitude, like whatever, and then you still go against it, you're the crazy one now.
No, I'm not.
Your optimism is insanity, sir.
No, it's not.
It is.
There's more
Because
than one way to things. There's more than one way.
you're believing in a race of humans that have shown you who they are. Because
I
guess
get that.
what? Before Trump got all these arrests and everything, he was a piece of crap candidate the first time,
Right.
and he won. He was grabbing them by the coochie back then. He had scandals back then, and they voted for him because what you don't understand is conservatives, quote unquote conservatives, do not care about the new conservatives. They don't care about policy. They don't care about
Not at all.
right and wrong. They care about winning.
Control
Ever since
is what they
W
care
showed
about.
up, they care about winning. And that's it. When Rumsfeld hit there and he was like, we're going to win. We're going to get these radicals. And he got the free radicals like he's in a science class. They got all of them. And all they care about is the Dems not winning. That's it.
But even with 2016 though, Mike, Blue MAGA obstructed that election because of how they felt about Bernie.
Yes,
They felt
that's
some
what
type of
happened.
way about Bernie.
Yep.
Plus, when the WikiLeaks came out, it was a wrap.
Yep.
That gave him even more incentive to not rock with Hillary.
I agree.
So Blue MAGA struck again.
Oh, sir, don't get it confused. I don't think the Democrats are any better. I think the Democrats are worse because at least the conservatives are unified in their fuckery.
What?
If you gonna be pieces of garbage, if you all together, look at soccer moms. Soccer moms are horrible. I know everybody's like, oh, they're great. Soccer moms are unified lunatics. Oh, yeah, I won because of soccer moms, we have participation trophies, and my son didn't get a trophy. I want my son to have a trophy. All the stuff that is decrepit, making the American raising of children decrepit and asinine and moronic is because of soccer moms. But they're unified, so you'll never get them out of here. Look at the police lobby. No matter how shitty or horrible they are, you can come by, shoot a 8-year-old kid playing with a gun in a park. Bow! Shoot him in 4 seconds. Man, he was scary. You can say anything. That Negro was terrifying. And the lobby will go right along with you. Is the lobby being taken apart? Because I know the majority of Americans look at it and go, man, that's terrible. Is it being taken apart? No, because they're unified. When you unify moronicism and lunacy, you get things done. Don't believe me? Look at Germany in the 40s. They were unified and the world hates us. You want to see it nowadays? Look at the people who still think Drake won the battle. They're unified in their moronicism. Kendrick wouldn't be doing nothing if it wasn't for Drake. He just had a top 2 concert series, a tour that just went through. He was top 2 of all time in America. So he didn't need Drake to sell it, but you can't tell them that because when you get a bunch of people to be unified, you get stuff done. These MAGA people are unified. It doesn't matter who, they could have a raccoon in an orange headgear. As long as he was one of them, they would push him through. Simple and plain. The only way you can stop them is if you can unify the blues, and the blues can't be unified unless you do something that strikes them. You got to have somebody stupid like Herschel Walker. You got to have somebody polarizing. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to have somebody polarizing like DeSantis. You got to have something to. But if there's nothing to invigorate the blue side, they're gonna do what they want to do, and the Reds are gonna win, which is what's gonna happen this election. I'm gonna shut up so you can go to the next topic. I'm sorry.
So before we go into the Morning Joe piece, I want to go into this about it's a little piece that More Perfect Union put together. I thought it pretty much laid out like what the stakes are and what's been going on in the country for like the last 50 years. And it contrasts the difference in the Biden's policies. And this is why his numbers are so historic. So a lot of people will hear like, well, he's done this, he's done that, but they don't understand what's the root to why his numbers are so good, why he, regardless of where you land, you cannot deny certain things in the economy that's going on because of this guy. So I just want to take a look here, and we'll have our views on the other end.
The bargain of the last half century or so was politicians saying to the American public, we're going to let factory work go abroad. Don't worry about that. Be bankers, be software engineers. Let China do the dirty jobs and we'll get a lot of cheap stuff in the meantime. It was a very naive bargain.
There's been a consensus in this country for decades about how the economy should be run.
It's defined by neoliberalism.
The Washington Consensus.
The neoliberal consensus, let's call it that.
Today you reached a new low, I think, by suggesting that manufacturing in America doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where the product is produced.
Congressman, we have the highest standard of living in the world.
No, we do not.
For years, that system looked unstoppable.
It is the economic equivalent of a force of nature.
Until it wasn't.
Your husband signed NAFTA, which was one of the worst things that ever happened to the manufacturing industry.
That is your opinion.
You go to New England, you go to Ohio.
The consensus of the last 50 years is collapsing. In its place, something new is taking shape. And the man behind it is not who you'd expect.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
Wait, pause. Did you catch that?
Made in America.
Contained in those 3 words is actually a radical declaration, a plan to transform the American economy.
So if you look at what Biden has done, it is a major, major sea change in how government has worked in the U.S. in the last 40 years.
Joe Biden's policies are an enormous break with a neoliberal consensus.
But to understand what Biden's plan actually is, you have to dive deep into the ideology that has shaped our economy for the last 50 years. For decades after World War II, unionized manufacturing jobs at companies like GE and GM had built the middle class. By 1970, middle-class households were taking home 62% of all income.
So if you were to look in the 1970s at the fortunes of workers, companies in the country, it would kind of move in tandem. They were linked in some way.
By the 1980s, they started to diverge.
There's a lot of deregulation, a lot of changes to tax policy that allow finance to just take off. And one of the great emblems of this is GE. General Electric was one of the oldest corporations in America. It's one of the original innovators. But by the time the 80s and the 90s roll around, Jack Welch, Neutron Jack Welch as he was called, comes in and starts slashing and burning people.
He got rid of 100,000 GE employees.
You were criticized because you got rid of so many people.
Yep.
And you didn't pull back.
No.
You went forward with it.
Harder.
And this is another part of financialization where human beings, workers, are sort of looked at like widgets. Costs on the balance sheet to be moved off so companies can become more efficient, so that share prices can go up.
Under the new paradigm, maximizing share prices was what mattered, and wealth began to shift, away from workers, innovation, and manufacturing, into financial assets like stocks, loans, and real estate.
You know, in the 80s, global capital was unleashed. Well, by the 90s, global trade started to be unleashed.
Between 1998 and 2021, the U.S. lost more than 5 million manufacturing jobs due to trade policies.
There's no future here. With 75% of your refrigerators being built in Mexico.
They promised basically jobs for our kids if they wanted them. That's not happening.
There was a real Faustian bargain that was made in the 1990s onward. We outsourced our entire industrial commons in exchange for cheap stuff. We decided to stop making things and start consuming things. One of the beauties, in some ways, of the neoliberal system, at least for those that were buying into it, is that it was simple. As long as share prices were going up and consumer prices were going down, there was no problem. As long as companies were getting richer, things were supposedly fine.
Amidst all of that wealth creation, America's middle class saw its share of national income decline.
That's the sort of dirty little secret of neoliberalism, which is that, yeah, the pie got bigger, but fewer people got a slice of it. All the things that make us middle class, education, healthcare, housing, the price of these things didn't go down. Indeed, the price of these things rose. At the same time you get a lot of cheap consumer goods, you also get a cost of living crisis. So it's a very dangerous paradox.
Please welcome the next president of the United States, Mr. Donald J. Trump.
It
took, I think, essentially the 2016 election, where both Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump critiqued that mainstream view, for policymakers in Washington to really wake up to the reality of what they had wrought.
They say Trump is starting a trade war. I say no. The trade war ended a long time ago, and the United States lost because our leaders didn't take care of our people and our companies. The era of global freeloading and taking advantage of the United States is over. It's just over.
There was a kind of a coming to Jesus moment under Trump, but the problem with the Trump administration is it didn't have any policy prescription for the U.S. itself. It simply said, China's bad, we're going to slap tariffs on China.
But at the same time, another more ambitious policy plan was being developed elsewhere. A senior advisor to Hillary Clinton was shaken by the loss in 2016. He traveled to Ohio, Colorado, and Nebraska to talk to Americans from across the political spectrum. The result was a report, Foreign Policy for the Middle Class, co-authored by Jake Sullivan.
My national security advisor, I'd choose Jake Sullivan, and it helps steer what I call a foreign policy for the middle class.
Biden comes in and says, we need an entirely new philosophy of growth.
It's based on a simple premise that will reward work, not wealth in this country.
He's created what some people would call Bidenomics, what some people would call a post-neoliberal world.
I don't buy for 1 second that the vitality of American manufacturing is a thing of the past.
What this means is that he's decided to prioritize not just share prices and not just consumers, but jobs, incomes, communities.
Today, we're getting to work to rebuild the backbone of America. Manufacturing, unions, the middle class.
Over the past 4 years, the Biden administration has quietly translated that worldview into a multi-trillion-dollar set of policies.
You have to go back to the 50s when the statistics were created to find anything comparable to the level of manufacturing investment that we see right now.
That investment can be broken down into 3 pieces of legislation: the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law,
a massive infrastructure bill,
the Inflation Reduction Act,
helping to fuel a boom in clean energy all across the United States,
and the CHIPS and Science Act,
boosting domestic semiconductor production.
We have not seen an infrastructure program this big since the Eisenhower era. We haven't seen ambition that government could do this much, I would argue, since FDR.
Under Biden, investment in manufacturing construction has surged to more than triple the average rate of the 2010s. And those investments are flowing disproportionately to counties where unemployment is highest.
It could be ultimately trillions of dollars that get invested in the economy, targeted not at what private industry is focused on in recent decades, like stock buybacks and other policies that redistribute income upwards. Instead, we're seeing companies invest in real places with real workers for the first time in generations.
How's it been? How's it impacted your life?
Man, tremendously. My life completely changed, man. I got things now that I never thought I could have.
Now we're in a position to where we have 19, 20-year-old people that are working and are thinking about their future.
It sets you up for the future, medical, dental, vision, pension, something to fall back on when it's all over with.
After one term of Trump and one term of Biden, we have a decent sense of how they're going to govern. Trump broke with the neoliberal era when it came to trade, but he kept in place a lot of neoliberal policies like cutting taxes for the rich and deregulation.
We've tried neoliberalism. What happened during those 45 years was that wages stagnated, Wall Street exploded, the big banks got bailouts. Most Americans really came out on the short end. And it pains me to say this because I was part of previous administrations. I was in the Carter administration. I was Secretary of Labor in the Clinton administration. I think that these administrations accomplished a lot of good things. But looking back historically, those administrations did not change the neoliberal consensus. Joe Biden is changing it.
Okay. So on that piece, there's a few things that should stand out. One, Donald Trump. You could see why people have gravitated to Donald Trump from the Republican side. You could see it vividly, and you should be able to understand. But as the piece did explain, he said all the words as similar to Bernie in a sense, but he didn't have any kind of policy to back it. So he said all the right things they wanted to hear, but he never did the policies to provide that reality for them. Now, on the flip side, you have Joe Biden, who is not flashy. He's not broadcasting. He's just in the office and he's just doing the work. And in the political game, that could be a price to pay, which he's feeling now, as his poll numbers are way lower than where his economic numbers are way higher. And this is a point where he's actually making decisions that are emboldening the economy. Black unemployment at its lowest ever is that way right now for a specific reason. It's not an accident. It's specific policies and whatnot that are being implemented by Joe Biden that has created that environment. So I'll go to Mike. Mike, what did you take away from that piece?
I believe that piece was well done. It was beautiful. I want to take us back a little ways. You remember W, right?
Yep.
All right. What was W famous for?
Gaffes and blunders and embarrassing moments.
Fantastic. Where were you when you heard that W had set up so many crisis centers as far as money goes and things and infrastructure, because he was told that a pandemic was coming, and he set up so many things for us to be ready for it that Trump ended up, I think at the end, Obama and Trump ended up using to help steer and to control and to make the retention of some semblance of normalcy in our society after COVID. You remember when you heard about that?
Nope.
You didn't? You
Nope.
know, but it's true. You know it's true though, correct?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't know it's true. I'm being honest.
Okay, and that's even better. That proves my point. There is a saying that black people love to use, and it, especially old black people, and it's the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Right.
Now, nobody knew that the person who was seen as a C student, a low intelligent person, had put so many policies and things in place because he felt a pandemic was coming and did it. That's not what we remember him for. We remember him for being an idiot.
We remember him for frigging up the economy.
Exactly.
We remember him for getting us into a war that we shouldn't have been. Well, a couple wars actually that we shouldn't have been.
That were not needed. See what I'm
So
saying?
yeah.
So you can say Trump, he had some stances that were good, but he had any policies. Nobody remembers that. They remember he did it. They remember he did it first. They remember he stood up to it first. That's all they're going to remember. I keep telling you, you keep trying to bring logic to a dumbass party. It don't make sense. You cannot bring intelligence to what's that movie? Damn, that movie where the dumbest people in the world took over? I forget. But it was a funny movie. Yes, Idiocracy. You can't bring a textbook to Idiocracy and expect things to get done. It doesn't work like that. These people did not read the Encyclopedia Britannica, Venkat. They were the ones who said, I'll learn what it means later on in the future.
Hey, keep rocking out, Mike. I'll be right back.
No problem. They were the ones who decided, I'll learn what it means in the future. I don't need to know what tapioca is. I'll figure it out one day. And then they went to Walmart, saw tapioca and read it and like, oh, it's some food that can be eaten. Cool. That's who they are. They didn't want to know. They found out what tapioca was in their 40s. That's who they are because they felt it doesn't affect my life. I tell people all the time, I am the king of useless, non-money making knowledge. I have a plethora of knowledge in so many facets. Anytime we sit down and play party games, people beg me to be on their team. Just this 4th of July, I was at my cousin's house and I told him, don't pull out no games unless you want to get embarrassed. And I was dusting people. It was like 25-3. Like I was whooping ass because I have a plethora of useless knowledge because I thirst to know things I don't know. I am not normal. I'm not regular. People only care about what they're forced to care about. They were forced to care about Trump and what Trump does. They were forced to hear grab him by the coochie. And because of grab him by the coochie, the conservatives had to put things out that were anti-grab him by the coochie. So they were forced to hear I was the one who stood up against this. I stood up against China. I stood up against Mexico and said we're building a wall. So for every stupid thing he's done, they have something that seems grandiose that he's done. No, it doesn't matter that the walls I built in Mexico have holes in them, that there's a quarter mile of fence here, and then there's nothing here. And then further down where there's a photo op, there's another quarter mile of fence. It doesn't matter. He's got some wall built. That's all that matters. So I'm telling you, you guys are living in this dream world where optics matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is the point. What matters is what got out there. What matters is that a lie can get around the world 12 times before the truth is uttered.
Well,
That's what matters.
it seems like you're saying that the way they feel is more important than what the reality is. And that can only last but so long. It'll never end well. It'll never end well. Huh?
You say that. You say that. But guess what?
Go
All
ahead.
they have to do, sir, is make sure that the short time it matters is around election time. Because, hey, there was a whole lot of people who voted for him and were disillusioned right after. What the hell happened? I didn't know he was going to be like this. It's too freaking late. You got 4 years of it. Same thing with DeSantis. Same thing in Atlanta when they were like, oh, we're not voting for that black woman. We heard this and we heard that. Then you got the idiot. Same thing with Florida. Oh, we're not dealing. Then we got DeSantis. Same thing with Hillary. Oh, I can't believe those emails that I know nothing about and don't really understand. And then you got Trump. It is what it is. All you have to do is disillusion them for the right amount of time around the right time. That's all that matters. You don't have to fool them all the time. You don't have to fool them all the time. They can hate your guts. They can hate your guts right after they give you what you want. Once he gets in office, he is not beholden to anyone because he cannot have another term. He can walk into office and do what the hell he
It
wants.
sounds like he's working on another term on top of that one.
And guess what?
That Project 2025 will make that reality.
He can move with impunity after that. What if he that's why Project 2025 is so scary, because once he gets in there, he might not even need the vote to keep it. He just
exactly.
I'm here because you need me.
Yeah.
Who decides whether I need you or not? I do. Now shut up.
So with what you're saying, like, I get that. I get what you're saying.
I don't think
it is true. It is true. But like for me, I know that like if I don't know something, if I don't understand something, I'm not gonna just forcefully be like ignorant and this is I'm gonna observe and look and see what it is. Or if I'm not that impassioned to find out the full truth about it, then I don't need to be raising my voice. Trump supporters are extraordinarily animated and boisterous about things that are self-defeating.
They can't even comprehend it. That's the thing, right? They passionate about stuff they don't even comprehend.
Right.
That's the problem. That's populism 101.
But who gets the attention? They do.
Well,
because the loud wheel gets the oil. You don't have to look at how many times you see somebody from the Trump administration or the former Trump administration stand up and just say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Do it a lot.
We have new words and phrases in the American lexicon because of these people who knew nothing. But what's the phrase that took over lie?
Oh, alternative facts.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Because an idiot didn't want to say they got caught in a lie. That's the thing. Think about that, MD. I didn't even say the phrase. I said what took over for lie, and Van Cat automatically knew what I meant. Because that's how impactful a moron was in our culture.
You're right. Hey, I can't contend with that.
You feel me? So if you're loud and wrong, it doesn't matter, because by the time the truth comes around, who cares?
I mean, it's sad, and true, and it's depressing.
Get your tent ready.
So MD, what did you think of that piece there?
Yeah, hey, that was a great piece in regards to I hear something in the background. What is that?
I don't hear anything. I'm gonna mute out.
Is that me? Nah, it might be on me. I don't know what I'm hearing, but I hear something in the background. Let me close some of these tabs out. And it's getting louder. I don't know.
All I'm doing is eating a mango, pimp.
It's like a news. It's like a news article or something playing in the back. I don't know what the hell. I ain't got nothing open. Well, anyway,
I
all
don't
right.
have any.
Yeah, I have ain't no telling, man. I don't know. But yeah. So let me say this in regards to neoliberalism. They use the word a lot. Don't confuse neoliberalism with like just regular old liberalism as we define it today, because it's not, right? Neoliberalism is what I like to call government assisted capitalism. That's what it is. It's a relationship between the government and corporations, right? That's what it is. The person that made neoliberalism a thing in the modern age was Ronald Reagan. We can all agree with that. Trickle down economics. You know what I'm saying? It's become a conservative mainstay. Hell, even some liberals, quote unquote, used it, right? That's not free market capitalism. So don't get that twisted. They're two different things. Classical liberalism, which I am, versus neoliberalism, which they are, right? So I just wanted to say that first so everybody can have an understanding of what's being said. Now, in terms of the dog whistling that Trump does, he essentially, and you said it, Venkat, he essentially said everything that Bernie Sanders was saying in regards to middle class economics in this country. Yet he had no policy for any of it.
Facts.
But because he said it, it's a good thing. So my question would then be, well, if Bernie supported it and Trump supported it, what's the difference? If we're gonna go off the title, there is none. That lets you know Trump is not a conservative in any form or way or shape. He's just not. You know what I mean? He goes on to do the tariff wars with China, which did nothing for the economy at all. It didn't even cut the deficit, because hell, the deficit went higher. Why did it go higher? Because we were paying a lot more for stuff, even in the Trump administration. So when people tell you that, well, look at Trump's prices, well, that's a non sequitur argument, because based on the prices at that particular time, they were still higher. It's non sequitur. You have to understand what the tariff system does. We talked about this last week. The tariff system is not there to be put in place to make costs lower. It's not there for that. It's mainly there for the government and their ghost attempt to cut deficits. That's what it's there for. And it really don't even do that. The original intent, as Herbert Hoover explained it, was to create competition, which it did not. That's why he was a bad president. You know what I mean? When you
Trump
talk
daddy.
about when you talk about classical liberalism, in and of its form, free trade, you just let it rock. If another company from another country can produce a product cheaper than a company here in America, that's just what it is. I would tell that company in America, you better find a way to cut your costs. Now, that's where me and you, Venkat, may have an issue. You know what I'm saying? But in any event, it's still in control of that consumer. And it ultimately could be in control of that employee based on the demand of the work. You know what I'm saying? But hey, that's I ain't even gonna get into that. Whole nother story. The fact of the matter is Trump is a liar. He don't understand economics in the form of a middle class situation, because he ain't never had to live it. So he don't know. On top of that, he has handlers. Going back to a point Mike made earlier. I believe he said everything, goes back on Trump, and really, it's not really Trump's policy. Trump may give you the title of the policy. He'll never give you the body of it because he don't know how to explain it. Who knows how to explain it? The Heritage Foundation. They know how to explain it. So in any event, I agree with the video. I like Robert Reich. Like that's one of the only liberals that I do like. And hell, I don't even really call him a liberal. He's really a progressive, but I like some of his arguments. So he made sense when he said neoliberalism, as we know it today, has ran its course because it does not work. It only benefits the rich, and it's destroyed the middle class. Point blank. Period. That's just what it did. We didn't have neoliberalism in the 50s and early 60s when manufacturing was booming. We didn't need to have it because you had a workforce that were able to set the standards and demand what they needed to be paid. That's why grandmas and granddads live so good. So I just leave it at that.
Yo, I am so sorry, sir, but I have to interject. You said a couple things that need to be tweaked. Number one, you said, you said Trump and, what's his name? The most awesome guy from Bernie. You said Trump and Bernie had the same plans.
No.
agree
I
with
ain't
that.
say they had the same plan. I said they had the same title of the plan. The only thing is Bernie had a body. Trump didn't.
Right. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
And then you said Trump was a liar. So you were disingenuous. Trump is the best liar. You see what I'm saying? And Trump don't need a body. He just needs he's the face. That's all he has to do. He has to stand up.
Butterface.
Hey, maybe, but guess what? They love it. He needs to stand up, say things with vigor that don't need body, because the Heritage Foundation is oh so willing to give him the body later. Just say things that conservatives want to hear and we'll fill in the blanks later. That's what they do. That's what they're there for. He's the best liar, and if he finds a liar better, he hires them. That's why you'll never beat him, because he's playing the game. He's trying to show the world my lie will get out faster and better than their truth. And by the time you hear their truth, I'll have 3 more lies that'll supersede whatever the frig they're talking about. That's why he'll win. You guys you have this, and I'm proud of the stubbornness, but you have this stubborn belief that policy and truth and realness will come out in the end. Superman ain't coming, my G. There is no Gotham. There's no, this is America. It's going to be the same blood clot way it was all the time. It's not going to change. You think because both of these idiots believe neoliberalism, and that's another thing. They're so, the conservatives are so good at naming things that hurt us for the opposition, because people still don't know what the Affordable Care Act is, but they know what Obamacare is. People don't, what the hell is neoliberalism? That's the dumbest thing. Why would you allow them to call it neoliberalism and then just to go along with it? That's what I hate about Democrats. They neoliberalism, that's right. It's something that's synonymous with us and it's hurting us, but we'll just call it that. Oh, it's Obamacare. It's something.
I gotta push back on that though, Mike, because liberalism originally is an economic term. That's all it was.
I agree.
The way we look at liberalism today is from a social standpoint.
Correct.
So that's why I made the distinction. I didn't want nobody to get it twisted. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no. I'm not disputing what you said. Everything you said was valid and correct. I'm saying we don't live in a society where people do research anymore. That was the premise of my
Okay, I get
argument.
your point now. So basically, you're saying the dumbasses don't understand. I got you. Okay, I didn't know where you was going.
They'll never get it. So all they hear, matter of fact, I'll give you a better example. Do you remember how they got Bernie out of here? They kept saying, oh, he's socialism. And all the dumbasses heard was socialist, that's a Nazi. Like Bernie was walking around with them boots. But that's all they had to hear. Socialism. Bernie's trying to be Adolf. That's all they needed to hear. They didn't do any research. They didn't
Fidel
care.
Castro.
You feel me? They were like, "Oh, is Bernie gonna be on a shirt next week?" Like that's all they had to hear. And the conservatives are the best in the world at doing stuff like that.
Well,
The
they did it
best.
to woke. They did it to woke.
Exactly.
Black people
Woke
being
woke
woke.
was a black woman thing, and now it's a liberal thing. How did that happen?
Yep.
Because they're the best. They're the best liars, and by the time people figure out the BS, it's too late. It's already taken root, and we watering the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm. It's very
So I
true.
don't know what world you guys are living in where you think that common sense is gonna make this big comeback and people are gonna start thinking and learning it. No. The last intelligent people we had were under Clinton, and he played the saxophone and ruined their intelligence and knocked their neurons out, and they let the 93 crime bill walk. There's nothing, there's no more, it's over. We're it, gentlemen. We're it. We're it.
All right. So we're gonna go into the Morning Joe segment, and we'll take a look at that. We'll see how Joe Biden performs here. Let's take a look at that right now.
I don't see anything, man, cat. Man, that behind the board stuff is hard. I don't be messing with that. Van Cat.
Anybody hear me?
I don't, now I do.
Yeah, we hear you. Yeah.
All right, so the video, I guess the video was muted, is what Trevor was saying. All right,
No,
so
I heard it.
I guess the video was. You heard it?
Yeah, I was listening to the whole time.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I
What,
heard it,
MD?
Van.
Now,
Oh
you
my
know what?
God.
Sometimes when you listen on your phone, there's a little thing that pops up that you have to click it and listen to it.
Oh
So maybe that
man.
happened to him. That happens on every single video you play. I gotta click it. If I don't click it, it'll be muted.
Oh. All right. I saw that
Some of us
message.
brokies don't have super phones attached to our computers.
I saw the message that Trevor put up there. So I stopped the video thinking, oh my God. Yeah, he's like, is it just me? I can't
Oh
hear
no,
anything.
he's saying the video has been muted, so YouTube might have jacked you over, is what he's saying.
Man.
I guess. I don't know.
He's saying
I don't know.
YouTube may have copywritten something, basically.
It says it's final. Oh yeah, he says the video is muted on YouTube and Twitter. Oh gosh. Okay. All right then. We'll forget it.
We'll have to
Anyway, I
edit it
mean,
later.
yeah. But okay. So MD, what did you think in general about what Biden was saying in the video?
First of all, bravo to Biden in that Morning Joe interview. I just wish that he would have did that same thing in that Stephanopoulos interview. I wish he would have did it because he wasn't trying to hear no BS at all in that phone call. What's her name? Mika Berinsky.
Yeah.
She asked. So first, Biden explained that he had a neurological physical in February. That's what he said.
And she asked her.
She right after he said that, Mika Berinsky come and say, "Well, have you had any tests as far as pre-Parkinson's or anything neurological?" He should have said, "Bitch, I just said I had a neurological physical." That's what he should have said.
Hey, show that you're reading off of a cue card without saying you're reading off of a cue card.
I think Biden was genuine. I think he was off the cuff, and you know,
Yeah.
but Mika, she obviously, because you saw her jotting down notes and stuff, so obviously she was like getting ready to formulate questions, right? But that means you weren't listening to a damn thing he said.
Facts.
Yeah, it showed.
So put your pen down. Put your pen down and listen, right? Biden went hard in this phone call. He went hard. Now, the part that you didn't play when you got out the video is when he called these people like James Carville, old ass.
Yep.
David Axelrod. By the way, David Axelrod, he ain't no person that I should be looking to in anything about a campaign, because he done had more. David Axelrod has a campaign firm. He's lost more campaigns than he won. If it weren't for Obama, you wouldn't know who David Axelrod was.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So I ain't trying to hear nothing about David Axelrod got anything to do with any campaign. I don't need your thought. But he called all these people. What did he call them, Venkat? Elites.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time I ever heard Biden say something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He said he don't give a damn about the elites. He's running for the people. That's why he went out all these days and been holding these rallies, because he want to see what they talking about. The hell with y'all, MSNBC and CNN. The hell with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo.
Somebody paid attention
Biden.
to Bernie.
Bravo is all I got to say.
Oh man, Mike, any thoughts on the Morning Joe interview?
I think MD killed it. All I want to say is he better watch out, because and it's my new favorite phrase. I might put it in the top 10 if I do another top 10 of the favorite sayings on our shows. The blue MAGA, they will turn on you, sir. Blue MAGA will come. Look what they did to Bernie. They will turn on you, sir. They broke in Bernie's stuff like it was Watergate. I was like, what's happening? Ran up in that man's office. They switched on him, had him looking like a Nazi, and this man was standing. He was walking with the Dr. King thing. I'm like, I ain't never seen Hillary do nothing for us. Like, don't let me get me started. MD killed it. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I say this real quick though, Venkat. When he talked about the elites, I don't necessarily think that Biden all of a sudden became a progressive. I don't think
Oh,
that.
never that. Never.
I just think that he understands that a narrative is being played on his behalf. That's BS. You know what I'm
And
saying? I
guess
think he understands that. Yeah,
and
go
how do
ahead.
you beat a narrative?
Definitely.
How do you beat a narrative?
With
You get a
another
better
narrative.
one. You get a
Yeah.
better narrative. So he went to Bernie, said, "Hey, I remember when I helped them screw you over. Could you help me so they don't screw me over?"
Yeah, I'm still mad about that Bernie stuff, man. Cause
No, I bring up Bernie every chance I get. We could have had Bernie.
yeah, we
If
could
Bernie
have.
got in the office, I promise you, in my heart, the same optimistic foolishness that Van Cat has for the American public, I believe if Bernie would have won and got any semblance of assistance, because you know people fall in line after you win. If he would have won and got any semblance of assistance, I think we would be closer to a utopia right now. And I'm not saying it would be super great. I'm saying if you judge everything as utopia versus dystopia and which we're getting closer to, I think 2 terms of Bernie would have got us closer to a utopia. It would have been hard. He would have forced us to work. He would have made us help, but we would all be better people for it.
I
I
disagree
believe
with
that
that.
wholeheartedly.
I disagree with that because Bernie didn't have the support in Congress to push
No, that's what I
anything that
said.
he
I
was
said
talking
after
about.
he won, they would have fell in line.
I
Yeah,
don't think so. I don't think so. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, if Van Cat can be optimistically stupid, let me do it too.
You know, a lot of Democrats weren't rocking with Bernie policy at all.
Oh, I agree. But once he wins, they gonna want that money. They gonna want
yeah,
those little. Oh, this is for your state. They gonna smile and take it. I think they would have jumped in line.
they're a bunch of
Well,
haters.
that's
Is
why
what they are.
you call blue. That's why it's called blue MAGA. In
I
order
agree.
for a presidency of Bernie Sanders to work, he would essentially have to do the same thing Trump is doing right now. He's gonna have to do a complete total recall of the Democratic Party, and they're gonna have to fall in line. That's
Well,
exactly
sir,
what Trump is doing right now. That's why I
I
call him
got
blue MAGA.
I got a blue hat, and I'd have slid that thing on that said "Make Bernie win again." I can't think of a slogan that fast, but it would have had something on it catchy.
No. Well,
I'd have walked into all Bass Pro fishing shops and all other racist places, and I'd have walked right through there. Go Bernie, go! I'd have been happy.
all right. So we're gonna continue to keep our eyes on this Biden drama. But let's move on now to another story in the show. We're going to look at the Ten Commandments controversy. A few weeks back, we had some Republicans forcing the Ten Commandments in our schools. We're going to hear what the panel has to think, but before that, let's just look at this news article.
Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry signed into law a bill requiring the 10 Commandments be easily readable on a poster-sized display in every publicly funded classroom in the state from kindergarten through college by 2025.
If you want to respect the rule of law, you got to start from the original lawgiver, which was Moses.
Republican State Representative Lauren Ventrella co-sponsored the bill.
Because I believe in it. Because I believe that these are important morals and ideals that our students should have access to read if they choose.
Opponents say they'll challenge the law based on the argument that it violates the constitutional premise of separation of church and state.
And this law flies in the face of that basic foundation.
However, Louisiana puts forth the 10 Commandments in not so much a religious, but rather a historical framework.
This is not forcing, requiring, sanctioning, coercing anybody to read this document. It's merely posting it there for the students to have the option to observe the historical and moral context of this text.
Likewise, experts say the fact that Louisiana is displaying the 10 Commandments for their historical significance should also provide legal protection.
The 10 Commandments clearly form the foundation of law and government and have clearly shaped our law and our government policy. So having the 10 Commandments displayed anywhere, whether it's in public school or elsewhere, is very consistent with our history in our tradition of law and government.
Some legal analysts say today's Supreme Court will likely allow the Louisiana law to stand based on a high court ruling 2 years ago.
There's been a total shift in the United States Supreme Court with respect to overruling the 1971 Lemon versus Kurtzman case. It was that case that has been historically used to challenge Ten Commandments displays or One Nation Under God or nativity scenes. Thankfully, the Supreme Court has ended that reign of tyranny, of that hostility.
That 2022 Supreme Court ruling, combined with the way Louisiana called for displaying the Ten Commandments based on their history and tradition rather than religious purposes, means other states will likely follow suit.
Well, we've been providing assistance and help to a number of legislatures around the country so that they can really digest this new era that we're in.
Notably, Louisiana requires a 4-paragraph attachment on each copy of the Ten Commandments describing how they were a prominent part of American public education for almost 3 centuries, further emphasizing their history and tradition. The displays will also be paid for by private donations, not by the state.
This morning, Louisiana has become the first state to require the Ten Commandments be displayed in public classrooms, from kindergarten to publicly funded universities.
If you want to respect the rule of law, you got to start from the original lawgiver, which was Moses.
Governor Jeff Landry signing the bill, which requires a poster-sized display or framed document of the Ten Commandments to be installed by January. Landry says the law isn't just for religious reasons, but also for, quote, common cultural heritage.
I hope and I pray that Louisiana is the first state to allow moral code to be placed back in the classrooms.
Critics argue the law violates the separation of church and state.
We learned the Ten Commandments. We went to Sunday school. And as I said on the Senate floor, if you want your kids to learn the Ten Commandments, you can take them to church.
The ACLU plans to sue, arguing this law will make kids of different religious beliefs feel unsafe, saying politicians have no business imposing their preferred religious doctrine on students and families in public schools. Under the law, the state funds won't be used for the commandment displays. They'll be paid for by donations.
I know, but the screaming was going on.
All right. So there we go. The Ten Commandments in schools. MD, what did you think about this new law?
No, but if you don't.
It's terrible, man. It's terrible. Hey, if you want to know what's going on as preambles to all the stuff that we're talking about, whether it's Project 2021 or the Supreme Court, look no further than this. That's all you got to do. Now, let me reiterate. I'm all for the privatization of schools. I am. Because I think it's a better upshot for children, especially that live in communities that I grew up in. So I'm all for that. You don't have the right from a public standpoint to do what just happened. That's terrible. The hell if you're a Muslim. The hell if you're a Hindu or whatever. And then they try to do it under the guise of moral law. See, that's that problem. Yeah, that's that problem with the one lady that was the Secretary of State in the Secretary of State's office, she said moral law. That's the problem with that word moral, Trevor. It's a slippery slope. So in that sense, they'll try to come up with something because it's gonna get challenged. You already know it's gonna get challenged. Hell, the lawsuit probably in the mail as we speak. So, it's going to happen. But with everything that's going on right now, it probably ain't going to mean much. Just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? I'm for privatization of schools. I never said I was for the abolishment of Department of Education. I never said that. But that's in Project 2025. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So now you're looking at more of a legal red tape in terms of the definition of what, even if they go the private route, is going to be more obscurity in regard to the definition of what's private under the state or under the district in itself. I don't agree with none of that, because obviously schools still need to be funded. So now, under the auspices of quote unquote abolishing the Department of Education, it's really not going to be an abolishment. It's going to be do what we tell you to do, school, or we're not going to give you no money. That's what it's going to be. Trump has already said it. Did he not say any school that enforces a vaccine or a mask mandate won't get no money from the government? That's what he said.
Yep.
So they pretty much already telling you what to do. Either get on your knees and pray before class, or you ain't getting no school funding. Is what it's gonna be. I don't care if you are a gypsy. Get on your knees and pray. That's what it's gonna be, because this is a white Christian nation, and that's what we at the Heritage Foundation intend for it to be.
Handmaid's Tale.
Also, I just found this out a few days ago in Oklahoma. The state superintendent put into educational guidelines that teachers got to have a curriculum of the Bible in itself in all Oklahoma City, not Oklahoma City, but Oklahoma State schools. I said, wow, they just going all out.
This is crazy.
All out. When the bell ring, you got to go to Bible class. Next class. This hey, I'm telling you, man. Hand Basket City, where we headed to next week, Van Cat. Hand Basket City.
I just don't.
I'll let you pick out your size and color.
It's outrageous times right now. I can't believe like these are the things we're dealing with right now. It's weird. Mike, what's your viewpoint on this forcing schools to do the Ten Commandments? What do you think about this?
I find it amazing how people show what they really believe morality is when their side is up. And I love that. I'm going to start calling it the sexy red doctrine, because you get your hand on your knees. Y'all better start praying now. I honestly believe that they should, and this is me being, I'm in my petty splendor. If I were the school board, I would clear out a closet, take the door off the closet. I would put a bunch of arrows around the closet door where it used to be. And inside that closet, I would have the 10 Commandments next to Sharia law, next to the teachings of Buddha, next to Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses. Sorry, I'm hip hop. I would have every single thing I could think of. And then I would have atheist rules. And I would have vegan rule, everything in this one little closet. And then I would move on with my day and act like they never said a damn thing. And if they came and complained, I'd say, there's arrows pointing to that room. Look at that little closet. Everybody's in there. You said we had to put the 10 Commandments, but you didn't say we couldn't put other stuff. So now there's no reason for anyone to sue us, because the 10 Commandments, we put it right next to Sharia law, put it right next to Torah doctrine, put it right next to Buddhists, put it right next to atheists, put them all in there. Now they all in there, everybody happy, leave us the hell alone. That's what I would do. Because I'm not dealing with it. But the way you guys are saying is, of course, this is step one. Step one of 2025. They're already, you know why? Because they already believe they won. They already believe they have won. So they're flexing their feelers to see how far they can push things. It started with DeSantis. Hey, get these migrants out of here. You know what I'm saying? They knew what they were doing. They wanted to see how people react. They were like, oh. They reacted a little crazy. Apparently, those Floridians like their oranges. Let's back up a little bit. Let's try it in the schools. The kids don't really have rights. Let's try it in the schools. oh, it's okay in the school. Okay, just the black people mad. All right, that's fine. Once they see the 10 Commandments, they'll come around. Black people are really conservative. They'll come around. Bro, this is just the feelers. This is just the feelers where it is time for the destruction of America. This is it. This is it. I hope there's a, what's the, dang it. What's the name of the other side of Rome? Damn it. The other capital? Byzantium?
Not
You talking about
sure.
the Eastern Rome? You talking about the Eastern
Yeah.
Roman Empire? Yeah, that's Byzantium. Yeah.
Byzantium, right. Thank you. I like when I get it right because it makes me look smarter. So I hope there's a Byzantium out there because DC is done. So hopefully Seattle.
Modern day Istanbul.
Yeah, we need, yeah. Like old time Constantinople. We need another place that we can escape to because the way it is right now, it is a wrap. It is over. I don't know what America you guys think is gonna come back, but the last time we had any kind of consensus on morality, quote unquote, or actually wanting to be a unified or an America that gave a damn about its people was Carter. And it's a wrap since then. So once again, gentlemen, Olive Branch, I'm gonna have a hammock and some tents. You guys come out. We're gonna make sure there's a bear in case a woman comes with us because they feel safe with bears for some reason. There'll be a bear there. The women like bears, they don't like men. So we'll have a bear there for the women's side.
Man
and on
talk
our side,
Monday.
what you said?
I said, yeah, that's a Man Talk Monday talking point.
As long as you got it. But we'll on our side, we'll just have scantily clad Sonic's delivery. And they'll just bring over food for you guys because I don't eat that stuff anymore. And we'll just hang out and watch it burn because that's what's about to happen. And I'm hoping I can get Bernie to join us and we can say, hey, Bernie, how does it look when it's burning? And we'll have a whole bunch of burn puns because that's the only fun that's going to be left because this country is over, kaput, redact.
Yeah, that's a great point about the whole Jimmy Carter thing because Jimmy Carter was a hardcore Christian. But
Yes,
Jimmy
sir.
Carter was doing stuff out the kindness of his heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that's the way Christianity was supposed to go, but hell, who am I? You know what I'm saying?
Sir,
but
I believe you're supposed to be like Christ. That's where the Christianity came from. But apparently you're supposed to say, to hell with everybody else, believe in my God or die. Apparently that's what it's supposed to be. My bad.
Pretty much. And just to think of it this way, I don't know how y'all grew up, but when I was in elementary school, we did Christian stuff. Like we used to do the nativity scene at the school during Christmas holiday. Hell, you used to get your ass beat, so I guess that's Christian. You know what I'm saying?
At least Catholicism.
Yeah. So it's understandable from a cultural standpoint, even though we was pretty much breaking the law because but we did it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was culturally part of us, like as a Christian, quote unquote, Black Christian community. You know what I'm saying? So we was clearly breaking the law, but we did it. In the aspect of you trying to throw statehood into it, like that, I'm telling you, man, it's getting bad out here, Venkat. It's getting bad, and we just see it rolling in, and we sitting here talking about, the stuff with what's going on with Biden. Why?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You should not have to formulate a show talking about Biden with all this stuff going on the right. We shouldn't have to do that.
Yep.
Hands on your knees. Get ready to get down, twerk and pray. It's gonna be the same thing.
So, we've had these recent elections with some surprising results. We've had them here in America and overseas. Let's take a look first at Jamal Bowman.
The most expensive congressional primary in American history is over, and voters in New York have rejected left-wing Democrat Congressman Jamal Bowman. Bowman lost to fellow Democrat George Latimer in a bitterly contested contest. They were divided over issues of the Israel-Hamas war, and Scott McFarlane is with us covering this race. Scott, How many millions of dollars? This was a lot.
25 million. That is bonkers money, and it was particularly bitter. Jamal Bowman, a 48-year-old former middle school principal aligned with the most progressive Democrats in Congress, known as the Squad, lost support from voters in his own party. He'd been among the most vocal critics of how Israel is fighting the war in Gaza, calling Prime Minister Netanyahu a maniac and referring to the war as a genocide. The challenger, Westchester County Executive George Latimer, was fueled by millions of dollars from Jewish American political action groups. This race really raises questions about the political impact for Democrats who are so outspoken against Israel. It could change some of the focus of some of the campaigns ahead of November. But even in this toxic political environment, there are new signs voters are looking for some form of harmony. Last week, a Virginia Republican who frequently defies his own party got close and is now at risk of losing his primary. And today it's Jamal Bowman, who voted against President Biden's initiatives in some way in the past 2 years, who lost Democratic support.
That Bowman race wasn't even close either.
It was a blowout.
Pay attention to that. Yeah.
So, Scott, let's talk about Colorado. Controversial Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. She scored a big win in the district that she switched to. I don't think a lot of Americans even knew you could switch districts, but what happened there?
She had a real small victory and a real big scare in 2022. And rather than run against the same Democratic opponent, she picked up and moved to a different, more rural Colorado district.
She physically moved?
She didn't have to move her home, but she moved where she sought the nomination. And so some called it opportunism, but when opportunity knocks, she took it and she romped. And she is likely to win in November.
I was one of those people, Vlad, when you said I think most people don't know you could switch. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I thought.
God, I didn't know you could switch.
You had to
All right, so there we go. We have Boebert winning, and we have Jamal Bowman not winning. So, what did you think here about this result here, Mike? Did anything here surprise you, delight you? What did you think?
First of all, there's absolutely nothing that's going to delight me about this. The world is coming to an end. I don't want it to be that way, but that's just the way it is. Secondly, this goes, it perfectly lines up. I wish the people knew that I don't know what you're going to play. So it can make me look more like Nostradamus, because this is exactly what I said. I said earlier in this show, the reason the Democrats will never win is because they're never unified. The Democrats are akin to Black Americans. They'll never be unified, ever, because they have too many things that they own. They have their own interests inside the party that they'll all go to. Republicans do not have that problem. Democrats, what do you mean? Just because he killed a bunch of Muslims, that doesn't mean we should hate them. But that's exactly what we mean. We don't want them killing other people. Well, yeah. If you kill other people, that's bad. But if you kill Muslims that don't like Jews, that's good. But what? I thought murder was murder. Isn't that in the Torah? Hey, man, don't bring up religion. I don't want to talk about religion. This is politics. But hold up, that's a Democratic conversation. That's what they just did. If you go to the Republicans, it's, man, Trump said he's going to grab women by the coochie. And then the woman in the party will go, that's funny. And that's the end of it. That's it. There's no dissension. All the people that have something to say have already been kicked out. They're streamlined. They all believe the same bull crap. Democrats will never, ever, ever, ever have a definitive lead in this country. And if they do, guess what? The special interests will divide them and they'll fall apart, just like in Obama's first term. That's what that's why I wish I was white. Oh my God, if I could be white and be Republican, you know how happy I'd be? I'd have one enemy. But the Democrats, you can't. You can't. You got Republican enemies, you got Democrat enemies, you got your blue MAGA enemy. It is what it is. It's exactly what I said it is, and it's exactly why they have a crab in a barrel. I'm so glad I can say this about white people. They have a crab in a bucket mentality. That's it. I'm Democrat, but I'm Jewish first. So bump what they talking about. I'm Democrat, but I'm Black first. So bump what they talking about. Guess what? I'm MAGA is always first. I'm MAGA is all. Hey, I'm a woman. Doesn't matter. Trump. But I'm trans. Doesn't matter. Trump. Have y'all not seen this yet? You cannot be. This is
Hey, you cooking. You cooking.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to say the same thing.
Thank you, sir. I'm telling you, I keep going back to a certain party in the early 40s in a Western European country. This is synonymous to that. Everybody fall in line, hop step, make sure your right arm, you got your right rotator cuff, make sure that right rotator cuff is healed up, because we're going to do a whole lot of arm moving and marching. Same thing, no difference. Same thing. And make sure you're pointing the finger at other people that are doing the stuff that you're doing, but you blame them first so it looks like they're doing it. You cannot beat them. They're the soccer moms. You can't beat them. They're all, dude, this, they just spent millions of dollars on a race between two Democrats. Think about that. They're not even fighting to actually win. They're fighting to get the seat, to get the nom.
To get the nomination.
To get the nom.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
And AIPAC spend money on both sides of the aisle. They spend it on Democratic and Republican.
That's you tell it now. Now think about this. Think about this. Whoever wins, and we know the white dude won. He has to now get all those people that were paid, that had paid ads and paid propaganda to make him look like the devil. Now, for him to win, he got to convince all them people that look at him like a piece of garbage that he's not that dirty. Think about that. The winner has been torn down in his own party. You think I'm voting for that dude? No. But guess what? You don't vote for him. They win. And they're over there laughing and giggling because I didn't spend a dime. Why? Because when we have friction over here in MAGA, we sit down and have a conversation. One of us either backs down or whoever has the most juice in the party gets the other guy tossed out. That's it. I'm good. I'm good. Well, hey, once again, I have extra tents, and I've gotten the girls who come from Sonic. They've actually got cousins, and they do Uber. So they'll bring us some food from some more high-scale places, but it'll be cold because we're going to be in the mountains. But you're all welcome. We got extra tents.
We'll be in the mountains.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying that. Yo, do you know what happens in the mountains? Not building fires. That's what don't happen in the mountains.
Deliverance? Hey, you ever seen that movie?
Sir, that's why I'm only inviting people who are not rump wrangling.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. If you're rump wrangling, there's another section down past the bears where the women will be. There's a whole lot of rump wrangling and people who enjoy the rump wrangling. Go on right on down there. That's just fine.
What about the hills have eyes? You seen that?
No, yeah. Hey, exactly.
That's why.
Exactly.
That's why in our section we have Fourth Amendment rights wide open. Did I say fourth? I meant second. We got guns. It would have been funnier if I got it right. We got guns. I'll leave it at that. Go ahead.
All right, MD. What's your take here?
First of all, shout out to Mike, man. Hey, I see you on your dietary journey, man. I'm gonna get there with you one day. Hey, I'm gonna eat one with you because I'm on the way to Panda Express as we speak. So it's
yo, hey, if you
I'm
can
gonna
do
save
me
a little orange chicken for you.
If you could do me a favor, get one orange chicken. I'll send you the difference. Get that shrimp walnut, sir, because I miss it. Oh Lord.
Hey, so I'll be eating for you, bro. Don't worry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Oh Lord, I miss Panda Express.
So yeah, man. So I'm gonna say this: Jamal Bowman, he deserves to lose. That's just a whole fact. He deserved to lose. He abandoned his constituency to run on a platform that had nothing to do with his constituents. Basically, I'm not saying that you should be complicit with what's going on in Palestine. I'm not saying that, not one bit. But damn it, you got a race to run. At the end of the day, the AIPAC saw an opening, they saw a hole, and they took it with the chameleon. I call him the chameleon Because that's what he looked like. Because he got one eye to one side, one eye to the other side. He don't know what the hell going on. But they know him within that community. Now, Mike from New York. Now, I'm assuming Westchester County, that's part of that district, it got a big Jewish demographic. So I'm just going to assume you got this big black bald-headed dude talking against Jews within the district that has a large influx of Jews. That's bad. You know what I'm saying? Now, he got smoked. It wasn't even like it was a close race. He got smoked. And that's the issue with what Mike was saying, with all this division going on in the Democratic Party. At the end of the day, we have to understand the year 2024 is now, meaning that the Democrats have a job to do in order to supplant themselves deep within the political system of government and to avert any threat that's against it. I hate to say it, you might have to put Palestine on the back burner for now. You might have to do it. You know what I mean? Hell, in my opinion, a lot of the blue MAGA, that's what they go toward. You know what I'm saying? They saying the hell with Biden based off of how they feel he's done on foreign policy when it comes to Israel. Now, I'm not saying that I disagree with that sentiment. I'm saying that you got to look both ways before you cross the street, is what I'm saying. And Jamal Bowman did not do that. He deserved to lose. I would say that should be a warning to these rest of these squad members, AOC and Corey Bush. I think Corey Bush got a big primary that's about to come up. You know, I would implore her to watch her ass. Like I said, I don't know what the primary is looking like over there because it ain't really been a big news thing like the Jamal Bowman thing was. But Corey Bush and Presley and all these people, they got elections this year. And if they fall to a general election, that's a major problem. Especially in a state like Missouri, with that's Presley in Missouri, right, Van Cat?
Yes.
Yeah. Especially in a place like Missouri, that's essentially a whole bunch of, well, I ain't a whole bunch. St. Louis, a blue spot in a red sea. You know what I'm saying? So you better be careful because we can't afford. Well, let me stop saying we. The Democrats can't afford. Hey, I will say we because they are part of this thing too. We can't afford to lose any seats to any MAGA maniacs in Congress. We can't do it. Just can't. So it's unfortunate, you know what I mean? As far as Jack Johnson, that's what I call him, Bobert. I don't know how that happened because she got destroyed in the debate. She got destroyed. We played the clip right here on TFP. They manhandled her, literally, in the debate.
Yep.
The MAGA maniac has no mind. They don't. They're not able to see for themselves of what the policies are in terms of even within a Republican primary. They can't even see it. All you gotta do is go to the podium, say Trump, and leave. That's all you gotta do. And that's unfortunate. But like I said, look at the district that you ran to. A bunch of humbugs in the Rocky Mountains. You know what I'm saying? They don't know no better. So again, populism 101. Get the dummies, say what they want to hear, and do your agenda when you get in there. That's unfortunate. Now I'm trying to figure out, does that mean the district that she just left is that going to be picked up by a Democrat? Because the way they were talking, that's essentially what they were saying, because it was a close race in 2020. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm sure that Democrat's gonna get it.
Yeah, I mean, Ken Buck. Remember, Ken Buck was a staunch conservative. You know what I'm saying? Ken Buck used to be part of the Tea Party. So that's why I was asking. Because, I mean, you know, if we're going to look at the former representative, I mean, I got to look at that as a expression of those people. But, hey, I could be wrong. Those people might be ready to flip.
Hey, have you noticed how
unless
everything Van Cat says has I hope, I believe, I think? Y'all seeing this? All right.
I think that
I think it is.
I think that maybe because she's such a horrible candidate that maybe that's why the Democratic person that ran the last time was so competitive. So we'll find out in November if
But
that's the case or
that
not.
district that she went to is right next to her old district. Why they don't see that?
I don't know. That's crazy. All right, so let's go into now like the UK elections and France. Let's take a look here at those results.
Labour Party has won this general election.
And that's it. 14 years of Conservative rule has, this morning, come to a rather brutal end. After a relatively short but terribly bruising campaign, the Conservatives have been reduced to their lowest seat share ever, with them dropping below the 156 seats that they won in the 1906 general election. On the other side of things, though, Labour have achieved almost the highest seat share in their history, getting very close to the huge 418 seats that they won in the 1997 general election. It's not only Labour who've had a good night, though. The Liberal Democrats have also had a very good night, with their seat share ticking up to a huge 71 seats, the highest seat share ever, and up from only 11 in 2019. This is, in fact, even higher than their seat share in 2010, when they agreed to a formal coalition with the Conservative Party. Similarly, it seems that Reform UK have had a pretty good night too. They've gone from no seats to a pretty respectable 4 seats. Even more impressively, it seems they've achieved an even more respectable 14.3% of the vote. The Greens didn't have a terrible night either, with them not only holding on to Brighton Pavilion, but also gaining Bristol Central, Waveney Valley and North Herefordshire. The only other party that had a pretty bad night was the SNP, who were damaged by their ongoing scandals and their very recent change of leader. Despite their electoral dominance in Scotland over the last decade or so, last night they received their lowest seat share since 2010, winning only 9 seats. This is a significant decline since 2019, when they won 48 out of the 56 available in Scotland. Obviously, this will raise a couple of key questions. The first is whether this is the beginning of the end of SNP dominance in Scotland. And secondly is what such a terrible result will mean for the cause of Scottish independence.
There is also political uncertainty in France this morning, where a right-wing political party had been expected to take control of parliament after a second round of voting. Instead, get this, a left-wing coalition won the largest share of seats, but that is still not enough to take full control. This could mean political paralysis for France's President Emmanuel Macron. Elaine Cobb has more.
Leftist supporters gathered in central Paris last night to heave a collective sigh of relief as the exit polls showed the French far-right's dream of taking power had been dashed, proclaiming it a victory for the values of the French Republic. On the sidelines, massed protesters clashed with police. As the count continues, the combined left group is tipped to take the most seats in Parliament.
Relieved more than anything. Really overwhelmingly relieved.
President Macron's centrist alliance came in second, but will still have fewer seats than before. In a shock result against the predictions, the far-right trailed in third, as left and centrist voters turned out in force to block them. But it still made historic progress and is tipped to take 60% more seats than in the last elections. However, it is destined to be in opposition to whatever coalition President Macron can pull together.
How likely are we to get the left working together?
This will be it's very, very hard to predict. I mean, really, you're looking into dense fog. Some of these less radical MPs will join forces perhaps with the Socialists and the Greens and the Communists and form a government which could perhaps rest on the support and part of Macron's party in the parliament.
President Macron will have his work cut out for him forming a government.
The scramble in France to thwart the rise of right-wing politicians seems to have worked. But
the country's parliament is at a virtual standstill. Last week, after the first round of voting, the far-right National Rally appeared headed for a possible majority. But going into the second round, which took place over the weekend, the left and center forged a plan to consolidate their support and deny the far-right a chance at power. With all the votes counted, a coalition of left-wing groups known as the New Popular Front will claim the most seats in parliament. The centrist coalition of President Emmanuel Macron came in second, and the far-right party came in third. No group has enough for a governing majority.
Okay, there it is. So, big drastic change in the UK and France. MD, what's your take here on what has happened overseas?
Yeah, a big surprise. Like I said, especially in France. All things that I've seen throughout the course of these last couple of months, when it came to France, show that the right wing authoritarians were supplanting themselves to be the majority. That's what it looked like. Macron, he called the I guess they call it like surprise elections or whatever, because it wasn't an election year. But what Macron did was he wanted to gauge to see what was what, and he basically put all his chips in. You know what I mean? And formed a coalition with the centrist parties of the parliament, the French parliament, and did it that way. We'll have to see what happens. Is he going to be able to work as far as the majority rule of that leftist party? Because they're extreme left. I saw some of the videos from this weekend. Hell, they were breaking stuff and they won. You know what I'm saying? So they pretty extreme. We'll see how everything goes. I think I saw another video where they already done denounced Israel already. So they blew MAGA. You know what I'm saying? In the UK, Rishi Sunak was in a bad spot. Now the Tories, they jacked up. They all the way jacked up. They've been jacked up for a long time. Keir Starmer, the new prime minister, they look. He's almost like the equivalent of Biden. He's a centrist. He ain't no extreme left like in the Labor Party. So Keir Starmer will be able to get stuff done because he'll be able to consolidate from both sides. So to me, that's a good thing. It's been a while since the Labor Party been in power. I mean, look at all the
14
bungles.
years.
Yeah, look at all the bungles that the Tories done had over the years. You talking about Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Boris Johnson looked like he just woke up, got out of bed, put his suit on, and walked out the door. I don't know what was up with Boris Johnson. Liz Truss wasn't in there for a good couple of months before controversy struck her. She had to resign. Then you get Rishi Sunak. You know what I'm saying? So the Tories it's been crazy. You know what I'm saying? Margaret Thatcher rolling in a grave right now. You know what I'm
They
saying?
had like six, like almost six of them when at a short period of time.
Yeah. I think I was looking at a report. I think they said they had 6 or 7 in like 4 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Tories are they notorious for not knowing how to govern. Look at all the stuff they done did. Brexit, getting out of the EU and all this. Like, bro, like they were MAGA before MAGA, essentially. At least from an economic standpoint, they have been. You know what I mean? I won't necessarily say from a social standpoint, but economically, yeah, they definitely been MAGA before MAGA. And look at all the turmoil it's done brought to the UK. So yeah, the people like, man, we got to get you up out of here. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. So now we'll see how all this coincides with November. That's going to be the interesting part. Because again, we've said it, Van Cat. All the polls in France showed that the authoritarians was going to win everything. They've been talking about that for at least 2 months now. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the reasons why Macron had the special election. He like, look, man, let's nip this in the bud now.
Right.
Ain't no sense of waiting. You know what I mean? So everything pointed to the right. What's that lady's name? Marie Le Pen. Like she is a extreme. I don't even know what to call her. Like, but she crazy. She plumb nut crazy. She want to do just like Trump. She want to get all the immigrants up out of there. No more immigrants. She's MAGA. She done said numerous times that she's in her platform is essentially the same as Trump. She done said it in another language, of course, but she said it. And hell, I even think she said just like Putin. I'm gonna have to get that video. And I'll probably put it on MD Thoughtbox Live because she said it. She said she copies herself from Trump and Putin. That's exactly what she said verbatim. So the lady is crazy as hell. But the people, once again, despite what these quote unquote polls say, they're like, hey man, we not rocking with neo Nazis. We just can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So the people got them up out of there. Now, that's a double-edged sword for Macron because they weren't rocking with you either. They went all the way to the left. They didn't go with the center coalition. So they said the hell with him too. So maybe, just maybe, for your sake, Van Cat, this may be a sign of things to come. Maybe.
So, Mike, do you think, looking at what has happened in France, the UK, do you think that this might affect the elections in November, considering the polls said one thing and the reality said a whole different thing?
Well, sir, to be respectful to you, I was going to ignore that question, but I'm going to answer it really quickly and then get back to the point I want to make. So I want to be respectful. No, it will not change because what has to occur, is that people over here have to see a a correlation about what happened over there to them. Americans are too dumb to think anything that happens outside of America has any effect on them. They don't think about anything. They look how long it took them to be like COVID. They were like, "Oh, that's an Asian problem. That ain't gonna happen to us." That's America, okay? But I will say this: I love feeling like a prophet because what happened over there is exactly what's happening over here. It's the same thing. The only difference is the part of the cycle we're on. Okay? We're on the cycle, we're on the part of the cycle where the Dems separate and do so much infighting that the Republicans take over more and more market share and gather up more and more power and then topple what the Dems have built. And then they go on a spree of showing why their policies are garbage. The last time it happened, I believe it was W. Yeah, it was W. Remember right after Clinton, everybody was like, Gore's gonna walk right in, doing all this, and all they had to go was look at all this crap that's happened. He came in with his little accent. Oh, look at all this garbage. We got to get back to the party of where the party of Lincoln and where the party of Reagan. We got to get back to said all the foolishness. Got the white people who felt like the others, quote unquote, pun intended, we're getting too much stuff. Kind of like what's happening now with all this woke talk. The others are getting too much stuff and the others are getting uppity. We got to get back to our hoods and shotguns and gun racks. That's kind of what's happening now. They get behind somebody who's pushing it, just like W. They walk right in, and as soon as they get in, then the world realizes, oh snap, they don't have any tangible way of making us better. They're just gonna go for money, go for broke, steal as much as they can, give more to their friends, and leave the country in a shitbox. That's what they do. It's the same. Well, I hate this. I said it more than once on the show. I hate to make it like cliche, but what country do you think we live in? That's what happens. That's what's going to continue happening. The people who are smart are looking over there and realizing, oh, they're having their Obama moment. That's the cycle there. That's the part of the cycle they're in. They're in the Obama moment where the progressives and the centrists realize, hey man, we've been squabbling and we let them take over everything. We might need to stop. How about we slow down and get together? And that's what they're doing. But guess what's going to happen? What happens after after the Obama session? We have the breakdown where everybody goes right back to believing that what they want is more important than the unification, and they're going to go right back to separating. You didn't hear the most important part. The most important part wasn't that they came together and stopped it. The most important part was even after they came together, they didn't have the majority. That was the most important part. See, I like to listen to the actual real importance, not to what I tell y'all. News people, they'll say things in a way to make you get excited about stuff while they're burying the important part. That's the important part. Even with all that upheaval they did, they still don't have the majority, which means the other side has their foot still. They might not have their foot on your neck, but they're like a cop with their foot in the door. I bet you won't close it on it. I bet you won't. All right, so no matter what, I still got my power. I just have to stay here for a little while, let you chip at me, fight back, fight. And then when the country realizes, oh, you guys just gonna give all the money, you're gonna give all the money to the migrants and the other people and the others, you're gonna help build the others up. Once the so-called the so-called natural people when the white people get enough of why you keep helping these others when we're out here, then they're gonna build up, the Boruses are gonna pop back up, then the Brexit foolishness is gonna start back up. It's a cycle. It's the same foolishness we're doing. Every country does it. I don't know why y'all think we're special. We're not special. We're just in a different part of the cycle. They're in their Obama session. They just came up on, and it's funny, they didn't even have an Obama. They just put a bunch of people together and were like, okay, all of y'all gonna be Obama. Y'all together are gonna play Obama. That's all that's happening. We're in our Reagan session, where they're sick and tired of the Carters. The Carters came around and keep giving money, so they're giving money. Nah, bro. And before that, it was Nixon. Nixon messed up so bad, then they had to come in with bro, it's the same foolishness. Why are y'all acting like this is not normal? This is what we do as humans. We're idiots. The ones that
Well,
are on the quote unquote good side are going to screw up, and the ones that are on the quote unquote bad side are going to stick together. It is what it is. You can never, because it's easy to tell what's bad. It's always wrong to tell what's good, because what's good is subjective.
well, I'll say this real quick. The difference would be, especially in France, the difference will be that they got more than two parties. You know what I'm saying? That
Right.
that actually hold party power
But
in
guess what?
parliament. You know what I'm saying?
Those parties came together to
They
make a
did.
pseudo one party.
They
And that
did.
Yeah.
pseudo one party is going to act exactly like the Democratic Party over here. The only difference is they're going to when they break down, they'll break down over lines that are already drawn. Over here, it's, oh, well, they talked about the Jews and the Palestinians and we believe in this and we believe it. Over there, they already have the party lines drawn. So when the split happens, it'll be cleaner. It's the only difference. It's the only difference. Go ahead.
Anything to add to that, MD?
He
I
knows
mean,
I'm
yeah,
right.
yeah, you're right. Yeah. The coalitions, they definitely help. But again, Macron asked the left wing coalition to join with him, and they said no. And they the ones that turned out victorious as far as getting a quote unquote majority. You know what I'm saying? Even though they don't have enough to unseat Macron, you know what I'm saying? They still got the majority within French Parliament. So I think that's a big win for democracy at the end of the day.
You know what? I love y'all so much. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make it easier for all of us. I'm gonna write this down. I'm starting today. Today is the day because I'm sick of people continually telling me that I'm not right. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start today. Today is the day I'm gonna start writing down the foolishness that I think y'all say, and y'all with your little optimistic bullcrap, and you're like, no, I'm telling you, it's different. It's different because of this, and it's different because of that. I'm gonna start writing it down. So in 3 years, when it breaks apart, I can go back and I'm gonna be like, hey, do you remember back in July? And you're gonna be like, nope. I'll be like, fantastic. It was on this episode at this time. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna write them down. So eventually all of you will have to say it because you guys are acting like Trevor now. You're saying, man, Mike, you're making so much sense. You're right. But see, that but is what annoys me. But I'm not gonna fight anymore. I'm just gonna be right. What's it called when you're right? But oh damn it, when you do something. See, God, I wish I was smart. I wish I could recall better. But I'm right. I'm right, but no one else knows I'm right. So I'm going to call it right, not with no prejudice. I don't know. I can't think of the term, but it's right, and it's a Latin term. So when I come back, I'm not even going to say nothing. I'm just going to bring it up, and then I'll be like, you remember I said this? Y'all going to go, nope, I don't remember you saying that. And I'm going to go like, July, whatever the hell, at 8:58 p.m., blah, 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 right there. And then I'm just going to walk off. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop fighting. I'm going to stop fighting. You guys believe what you want, but I know I'm right. I'm done.
All right. All right. So before we get into the lame duck session, I want to go into this video here where Trump is flippity flopping and he's got amnesia again. But Donald Trump has had a history of having amnesia. Let's take a look.
I didn't know Manafort well. He wasn't with the campaign long.
I don't know Papadopoulos. I don't know him. I saw him sitting in one picture at a table with me. That's the only thing I know about him.
I never met this woman. I never saw this woman. I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact.
I don't know him very well. I have not spoken to him much. This is not a man I know well. Seems like a nice guy, though.
Eventually, it happens to everybody. Hi again, everyone. It's 5 o'clock in the East. Donald Trump's age-old, or hardly knew him defense. When things get icky, sticky, Trump's suddenly a stranger to whoever it is in the crosshairs. He's barely met the person. He doesn't know anything about them. Never heard of them. That same defense popped up again over the weekend. This time, it wasn't a person who'd once worked for him, but to an entire radical agenda laid out by Trump's closest allies, which includes eliminating the Department of Education, criminalizing abortion medicine, and installing an army of loyalists to replace those serving in federal agencies. We've covered it on this program before. We're talking, of course, about Project 2025. It is a 900-page blueprint for the next Republican administration, an extremely detailed, full-scale reimagining of something Steve Bannon said at the beginning of the first Trump term, right? The annihilation of the administrative state. It's Trump's plan for how the federal government would operate if he continues to listen to these allies. Project 2025 was created by the conservative group, the Heritage Foundation. Its president, Kevin Roberts, made this shocking comment last week. Watch.
We are going to win. We're in the process of taking this country back. We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Now, several of Trump's closest allies and former officials are part of this effort, which, quote, will remain bloodless if the left allows it to, end quote. That includes his closest person in charge of personnel from his first term. His name's John McEntee. It also includes Russell Vought, Christopher Miller, and Paul Dans, who is the project's director.
It's 900 pages long. You could Google it right now and read it. It is chock full of wildly unpopular policy proposals. You got everything from using a 19th century obscenity law to shut down all medication abortion and also maybe the mailing of all birth control, to outright outlawing pornography and throwing people in prison over it, to weaponizing the Department of Justice to be used explicitly as a kind of tool of vengeance for Donald Trump. Now, Republicans realize that Project 2025 and all these ideas are wildly unpopular, or at least they're beginning to, which is why today Donald Trump is desperate to try to separate himself from it all. Trump does not want people to know about the entire vanguard of extremist weirdos around him and what their little plans are for when he governs. With the Project 2025 plans lying in plain sight, they are panicking in a comically preposterous and fraudulent way. Donald Trump posting today, I like this, he knows nothing about Project 2025 and has no idea who is behind it. Well, you could go to the website. It's got them all listed there. Here's the thing. The group behind it all is the Heritage Foundation. You see that their logo and the scrim behind him? We all know Trump spoke to them while he was president. And Paul Dans, a former senior aide in the Trump administration, is the director of Project 2025. Ken Cuccinelli, the Cooch, Trump's former acting deputy Homeland Security secretary, who aggressively pushed anti-immigrant policies, wrote a chapter in the manifesto. John McEntee, Trump's one-time White House personnel director, a guy very close to him, around him all the time, is a senior advisor. He's been doing some vetting of a personnel database to see who they're going to staff the government with. So if Trump has no idea who is behind it, he is far too senile to be allowed to continue his campaign. Either that or he's lying.
I guarantee there are things that Trump likes and dislikes about that 900-page document, but he is the person who will determine the agenda of the next administration.
Think tanks do think tank stuff. They come up with ideas. They say things. I like Heritage Foundation. I agree with some of the things they stand for, but there's a bunch of scholars and people that turn around and work on different projects. But our candidate for president is Donald Trump.
He's our guy, and he says he never heard of it. The Heritage Foundation is a think tank, but it is a think tank, mind you, that during Trump's first administration directly handed Trump the names of the 3 Supreme Court justices he would eventually pick. 3 now Supreme Court justices who have made hugely consequential legal decisions, including to give Trump full immunity if he becomes president again, as well as furthering the agenda laid out in writing in those 900 pages authored by Project 2025, things like overturning Roe versus Wade, undermining the power of federal agencies, giving the president, as we said, absolute immunity.
What did I do with the debate the other night?
Oh, amazing.
Kick that old broken down pile of crap. She's so pathetic. It's so amazing. It's just so fucking bad. So I just can't imagine. But can you imagine that guy with dealing with Putin and the president of China, who's a fierce person?
Now, Pamela, and I do apologize. I meant to warn our viewers that there was some profanity in there that Donald Trump used. But look, clearly a candid moment for Donald Trump. It's unclear if he knew he was being filmed on the golf course. But again, he did share this himself. So he is happily criticizing both of these leaders in this moment. And I will note that I think something that's really interesting is for months now, we actually haven't really seen Donald Trump and his campaign attack Vice President Harris. Instead, they've largely ignored her. However, that started to change this week as reality has snuck in that potentially she could succeed Joe Biden as the Democratic Party's nominee. And so there's a lot of discussion behind the scenes about how to deal with this. But right now, Republicans and Donald Trump himself are trying to continue to let Joe Biden and the Democrats be the story.
All right. So there we go. Donald Trump turned into Mariah Carey. I don't know her. All right. So, MD, what did you think here about Donald Trump's amnesia, and then that video at the end where he's at the golf course bashing Biden after the debate?
Unmute, MD.
MD, you there? Oh, maybe MD probably stepped out.
No
or we'll
problem.
go to Mike.
First and foremost, let's be clear. Trump knew who was being recorded.
You think so?
I know so. I've recorded somebody without them knowing. You know what you have to do? You have to move the phone around. You can't keep the phone stationary because it's an awkward way to hold the phone. Think about it. For somebody to record you, they have to hold it so the back of the phone is facing you. And they have to hold it in a manner where it keeps you in the focus. I just had a car accident maybe 2 days ago. And I had to record the person who hit me.
Really?
Huh?
Really?
Oh, dead serious. I can send you the video afterwards.
Wow.
If you look at my video, you see the person at a slanted angle. You see their head being cut off sometimes, their feet being cut off. Why? Because you have to keep the phone in your hand and move it as if you're not recording it. Think of how you carry your phone when you're not recording. You move it as a part of your hand. That camera did not move. It stood there, it kept them in focus, and there were no people in front of them. I'm being dead serious. Think about that. That camera was perfectly focused and perfectly held for it to be seen. But he gonna be president, but he can't see a phone?
Hey, he's old too.
Yeah, he's had enough hot mics, but he don't know what a phone look like? Come on, man. Come on, man. Miss me with that. That was on purpose. That's why he released it. Because he was off the cuff. And here's another thing people don't act like they don't know. They think that old Republicans don't like cursing. Oh, no, no, no. They don't mind cursing. What they don't like is for people in a professional capacity to be disrespectful of that office. So they don't want to see a person acting as president doing something disrespectful to the office. That's why they were so mad at Clinton doing that stuff in the office. That's the Oval Office, where Reagan wouldn't even take off his jacket. Yeah, they live in that bull crap. But Trump was in man place with playing golf with men. Cursing there is no problem. When I tell you, they will make any excuse to let their foolishness fly. That's why they can unify. So trust me, that was staged. That's why, you heard the disrespectful stuff he said about Putin? Did you hear the disrespectful stuff he said about the Chinese guy? The Chinese prime minister? The answer is no, because it doesn't exist, because he knew he was being recorded.
Mm.
You feel me? All he said about the Chinese president was, he's a fierce man. Who the hell talks like that? How you call one person a moron, senile, the other person is fierce? Fierce is a political term. Fierce is something that a wrestler says when they're about to face somebody for the championship. You try to big them up, so when you beat them, your win looks better. Senile is what you talk about when somebody's beneath you. That's what he thinks of Joe. Okay? Totally different. Now, before that, I'm disgusted at the left-wing media, because if I was them, and this is what I was saying earlier, they always play into the right's hands. If I was in the left-wing media, the first thing I'm doing is putting out the same gusto that they put about Joe. Hey, man, this guy is too senile to be president. I'm not saying it as a joke. I'm being dead serious. And then I'm putting out all the times where he doesn't remember people, then the times where he's shaking their hand. Hey, if our president can't remember people he meets, what if he meets a spy?
True. That is so true.
What if he meets a spy and this guy gives him a way to destroy the country, but he doesn't remember? Now he's put a virus into our. I'm spinning all kinds of bull crap, because that's what the right would do. But the left is too stupid, and they're too busy trying to be the moral majority, which they're not. Every time they try to say they're the good guys, I remind them what they did to Bernie.
Yep.
You feel me? Which is why I'm an independent. I was a Democrat until that Bernie stuff happened. Then I realized, yeah, I'm good. But they never know. Rumsfeld laid out the perfect strategy, and they'll never be defeated. They'll never lose. Even if they lose the election, look what they did. When they lost the election to Obama, what's the first thing they did to Obama? They discredited him and made him look insignificant, and then took back the House and took back the Senate.
Yep, the party and no.
You see what I'm saying? So Democrats will never, ever, the left will never, ever, ever fully win. It's just cycles we're on. And I'm sorry, I know you guys, you want to believe. Believe is good. If you need hope, go find one of those Obama clothespins. You can stick it on your shirt, and you could look for some hope. But that's as close as we're ever going to get to hope. It doesn't. Once again, here's an olive branch. I have room up on the mountain. I got some extra tents, Venkat.
No, not going for it.
All right. Well, hey, when they steal female family members and try to make them get pregnant, and they hey, I'm dead serious. When they steal little kids, my daughter's gonna be in the mountain. I hope I could get some of your family members out of there, buddy.
There you go in the mountains again.
Hey, man, the mountain's gonna be safe.
Man, Trump is a trip, man. He don't remember nobody. God damn.
And they don't hold him accountable. That's the problem.
Right.
They're too busy trying to be good to hold him accountable. I hold him accountable for everything.
Oh.
Hey, Venkat, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
I
don't know what the hell happened.
Oh, so did you wanna reply to the video here about Trump not knowing nobody, Mariah Carey style?
Hey, man, hey, that is dangerous, man. And just think of it this way: These people are allowing, pretty much, allowing Trump to disrespect them.
Yep.
That's the crazy part about it. Knowing that it's a lie.
Yep.
On my show this Thursday, I'll be exposing all of that. All of these people, in some way, shape, or form, whether it be long or short, have some type of tie to Trump. Every single last one of them. Dan's was the former head management and budget, OMB. Hey, you got a video right now, Project 2025 YouTube with his campaign press secretary talking on the video, but you don't know nothing about Project 2025. Get the hell! This is crazy, man. And this weekend, I was on a Twitter space with some MAGA maniacs, and this idiot got the gumption to tell me, "Well, Trump already has a policy plan. It's called Agenda 47." I said, "Okay, cool." I said, "Name a policy on Agenda 47." He said, "Well, one of the policies are he's going to get all the legal immigrants." I said, "All right, cool. How you gonna do it?" He couldn't answer. I said, "Okay, what's Project 2025?" He said, "Well, Project 2025 is a policy plan that lays out everything as far as the implementation." I said, "Well, what the hell are we talking about, man?" You can go on Agenda 47 website right now, and he got videos upon videos, MAGA babbling about a whole bunch of nothing. Again, going back to the title versus the body. He know the title's good. He don't know the body. Project 2025 is that body. What's so hard to know about that? Then when Kevin Roberts come out, this is why he did it, Van Cat. Kevin Roberts came out and told him what the play was. He went on War Room podcast and said, basically, we finna about to get ready to do a bloodless coup. If you want to start something, we'll go the violent route. That's basically what he said.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And Trump's handler said, "Hey, look, man, like, bro, he went too far." So here's a premonition from the political prophet. Kevin Roberts very soon will lose his position as president of a Heritage Foundation. He'll lose.
He's got to.
Based on that stupidity, what he said on that podcast. He'll still be technically probably in charge of it. But the position of president, he will no longer have. That's just a whole fact. Because he dropped the bag.
I want to remind everybody that Trump instituted a part of what became 2025 in his last presidency term. And Biden had to repeal it.
He did. It's scheduled left.
Yep.
Schedule left. He was about to crank up because he thought he was going to get that next term. Schedule left was the next phase of the plan after 2020. So he didn't. So technically, he implemented it, but he didn't get a chance to go with it because he did it in 2020. Wasn't enough time. So he learned from all of his mistakes of his first presidency. Because basically, remember what he did. He fired damn near everybody.
Yep.
Fired Jeff Sessions. Fired Bill Barr. Fired Steve Bannon. Fired what's the FBI? Well, he did that.
Comey.
Like way in the beginning. James
Comey.
He got to firing everybody. He said, "Look, I got to put people in here that's gonna bend the knee to me."
And he criticized Biden because he didn't fire anybody.
Crazy. So that's exactly what hey, Mike is right on that one. he was about to do it. Luckily, we got his ass up out of there. So now all he doing is just re-up it. That's all he doing.
All right, so now is that time. It's time to go into session.
First things first, in this lame duck session.
For the United Nations General Assembly to share the extraordinary progress we've made. In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
So I changed my return flight and flew back on the first available flight I could take.
I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced.
I'm tired of being quiet.
I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. With great power comes great responsibility.
These lights are so bright in my eyes that I can't see too many people out there. But I can only see the black ones. I can't see any white ones. You see? That's how far I've come. That's how far I've come. That's a long way, isn't it? These eyes. You want to see a bird graveyard? You just go. Take a look. A bird graveyard? Go under a windmill someday. You'll see more birds than you've ever seen ever in your life.
I'm Neil Frisky, and I want to be your voice for the 107th State House District in Lansing. I'm a blue-collar man, small business owner, a father, grandfather, and a constitutional conservative. I am fed up with these gas prices, fed up with the Lansing establishment, and I am standing up for you, the backbone of Northern Michigan. Join Team Frisky and vote Frisky on August 2nd. I'm Neil Frisky, and I approve this message.
New at 6, Republican Representative Neil Frisky is breaking his silence about his arrest. He's facing allegations of sexual assault and more.
It comes as lawmakers in Lansing are starting to react.
Northern Michigan Representative Neil Frisky is behind bars in Lansing. Potential felony charges will be considered by the Ingham County prosecutor, but we are learning more about his arrest early this morning.
Neil Frisky was arrested around 2:45 this morning in southern Lansing. Police say that this was a felony level offense. Police had reports of, quote, a male with a gun, as well as possible shots that were fired, end quote. Frisky currently represents Petoskey, Charlevoix, Mackinac, St. Ignace, and the Sioux, and is running for re-election, now campaigning in the Republican primary. As for Frisky himself, the last time our news team checked in with Lansing, he was still in jail. The police will present their evidence to the Ingham County prosecutor tomorrow, and he could be arraigned as early as tomorrow. We'll just have to see.
Sexual assault allegations are being investigated days after police arrested a member of the Michigan House. Lansing Police Department arrested Representative Neil Frisky after Lansing police received a call claiming gunshots had been fired. And yesterday, a statement from the Ingham County prosecutor found there were potential charges of sexual assault, which is what was heard by dispatch the night of the incident.
2508 Windbreak Lane. Caller says there's a male with a gun threatening the shooter and they tried to rape her.
In a Lansing police warrant request obtained by 6 News, officers asked the prosecutor to file 3 felony charges against Frisky: sexual assault, assault excluding sexual assault, and being in possession of a firearm during a crime. The prosecutor has not issued charges, instead is requesting LPD to continue their investigation. Frisky had been released from custody yesterday. Stay with 6 News on air and online for the latest in this developing story.
Frisky was arrested in the early hours last Thursday. Lansing police confirmed to CBS News Detroit Frisky is facing the possibility of 3 felonies for sexual assault, weapons, and assault.
We have to consider the power dynamics involved and make sure that any accountability that we're seeking is equitable and not favorable to somebody just because of a position of power.
According to the Michigan Information and Research Service, Frisky's altercation involved an adult dancer who works for Deja Vu Showgirls.
I think that the Republican Party knows that it has not held their members accountable for past actions that are involving power dynamics and violence against women in particular, and that they should do better. I would recommend that instead of silence, they actually speak out on behalf of the rights of women.
CBS News Detroit reached out to Frisky's Republican colleagues, the House Minority Leader Brian Posthumus, as well as the communications team for the Republican caucus, but we haven't heard back. The state Republican Party told us, quote, no comment. In a statement, House Speaker pro tempore Lori Pahutsky said, quote, allegations of assault and the recent reports of impending felony charges against a member of the House Republican caucus follow a disturbing pattern of violence against women by Republicans. Even more disturbing is the deafening silence from Republican leaders who have failed to denounce the alleged actions of their colleagues, end quote.
We are making and changing laws, so at the bare minimum, we should be able to show that we are able to follow, especially those laws that are in place to avoid harming other people.
As of Monday evening, official charges against Frisky have not yet been filed.
However, Frisky was released Friday and charges were not filed. He released a statement today maintaining his innocence. It reads in part, quote, due to the ongoing investigation, there are details that I cannot disclose at the moment. What I can say is that the police were called, resulting in being detained due to false accusations. However, upon initial investigation, no evidence was found to support the claims, and I was subsequently released with no charges. I am confident that this investigation will totally exonerate me, end quote.
A Republican state representative from northern Michigan wants to set the record straight.
He says he was unfairly detained last week, police say, after an incident involving an exotic dancer. News Channel 3's Princess Johnny Steverson joining us live in studio. And Princess, that state rep said not once, but twice, his hands are clean in all of this.
He did, and he first said so on his Facebook page after a lot of people have been wondering what happened to land a state representative in cuffs and behind bars. His name is Neil Frisky. He's a representative from northern Michigan, and earlier today, he made a statement on his Facebook page about the whole issue, which says, quote, I maintain my innocence, and due to the ongoing investigation, there are details that I cannot disclose at the moment. And tonight, Frisky addressed the issue head on before an audience.
I'm thrilled to be anywhere that's not a jail cell.
These were the first words spoken by Michigan State Representative Neil Frisky, who was at North Central Michigan College this evening. He was speaking to a group of residents who could be the deciding factor in whether or not he gets reelected into office.
Let me first address the elephant in the room and let me be as clear as I possibly can be.
Before Frisky could look to address voter concerns regarding their local neighborhoods, he first needed to address what's likely been on the minds of many: his recent night spent in a jail cell after being arrested for a felony-level offense.
I was arrested and held due to some false accusations. I was released with no charges. I did absolutely nothing wrong, and I'm certain that when the police are done conducting their investigation, I will be completely exonerated.
According to Lansing police, Frisky was arrested last week after a report of gunshots at the 2100 block of Forest Road. That's the address of a strip club called Deja Vu Showgirls. It's also where police say they found Frisky with a gun. He was detained and later released from jail the next day, though News Channel 3 has learned officials are seeking to charge him with assault charges, weapons, and felony sex assault. Ingham County Prosecuting Attorney John J. Duane stated, quote, during the course of the initial investigation, law enforcement officers learned of a possible sexual assault of an adult female, and they arrested a 62-year-old male, Cornelius Frisky.
Is to humbly ask for your vote in my bid for re-election. If you want a representative in Lansing that will not compromise on the with the radical Democrats, then vote for Neil Frisky.
Frisky is currently representing the 107th House District. As far as his legal issues are concerned, in a statement released by Frisky today on his social media, he maintained his innocence by saying, quote, I am confident that this investigation will totally exonerate me.
All right, there he is. There he is. Number 46. Trash bag human of the week. Put the spotlight on Neil Frisky. This guy has the audacity to call Democrats radical as he shoots up the club and essay assault a stripper. Mike, what do you think of lame duck number 46?
I think anybody with the name Frisky, you knew what you were getting into. But I will say this. He might be a test subject because when Trump wins, I believe he's going to spread the power that he gets with being...
Syphilis?
That was hilarious. Well done, sir. I should have said that. That was good. No, the power he just got from SCOTUS, where no matter what he does, he's innocent because he's doing it in his official capacity. I think he can easily spread that to other people in his party just to test the waters of the 2025 rollout and show that even SA isn't more powerful than a man in this position. I know you guys probably think that's radical, but I don't think it is. I think it'll be a worthy test subject to show what people will swallow. Pun intended.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, pun intended. They'll swallow up. And I think it's terrifying. I think they've been doing it for years. That's why it went from, if somebody has any impropriety, they pull out the race and they go away in shame to clean themselves up, to we're not going to let the woke media destroy our comrade in arms. To surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. Acting as if nothing is occurring. I think this guy will be the test case when Trump wins, that he's going to spread his arms and get people to bow down to his power. I'm done. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. Hey, they can't be a surprise. Fatalistic Mike.
All right, thanks, Mike. MD, what did you think about the human trash bag of the week, Neil Frisky?
Hey, man. I'm trying to figure out this, right? If there were reports of a shooting at the strip club, and if indeed there was shots being fired, you find him with the tool in his hand or whatever the situation may be, because I'm pretty sure when they took him down and booked him, they did the forensics on his fingerprints and see if he had the powder residue. Like that. Yep. That's what they do.
Yep.
How the hell he get out of jail? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out.
They went until the...
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Because they don't know if he's guilty until the election is over.
Oh, okay,
Just like
that's
Trump.
what it is. Okay, gotcha. So basically, after all the evidence has been compiled, I can come up with this. He went to the strip club, and he saw a young lady that he was privy to. I'm assuming he asked for the special.
Hey,
she denied him.
How dare she?
And he got upset and hell, basically did attempted murder. And damn, like Venkat said, shot the club up.
Yes, sir. She wouldn't let him shoot the club up the other way. He got to shoot it up the other way.
A couple weeks later, he asking people for his vote. Is that what?
Surprise,
surprise, surprise. Is that what I heard, Venkat?
That's exactly what I heard.
100%.
Is it reasonable to assume that? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
Verbatim.
I think reasonability has gone out the window weeks ago.
Hey, this sounds like some nigga stuff.
Yes, sir.
These ducks have no limits.
Look at this guy.
They signed with Master P.
Like this crazy. Hey, what you doing at the strip? Like you they said the man was 62. What did you do in that strip club, sir? In Lansing, now you got some pretty bad parts of Lansing. I don't know exactly what strip club he was at. You know what I'm saying? But obviously he wanted to see some cheek clapping.
He had to let them know how Frisky get down.
Yeah, exactly. They don't call me Frisky for nothing.
Hello.
This is not fair. I should not be put to them indignancies.
So hey man, hey, this is a great lame duck. Like I said, I knew about this maybe a couple days ago, so that's crazy. Hey, but hey, it is what it is, man. Hey, conservatism is dead. Don't listen to nobody that tell you that they conservative. Let it go one end out the other because it don't matter at all. Not in 2024, it don't.
It's unbelievable, man. The blatant. It's just wow. Like you hold office and like all this ignorance comes out.
It's only unbelievable to you guys. It's par for the course for me. It's just the next step.
He was ready to kill over some booty butt cheek, and it must have been immaculate if he resulted to that after refusal.
Did you see his face? It ain't have to be immaculate. He ain't getting no fire booty cheeks. He was looking at a 7 like he in love. Nah, man. It's the world, bro. Welcome to the world, gentlemen. You guys are gonna come over to my side eventually.
All right. So that's the show, folks. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up here now. So Mike, what's your final sign off for the evening?
Yes, once again, I hope you look at my beautiful sign. I did a lot of research, which means all I did was type it in Google to see what that sign would be for others in Punjabi. I'm only here because the smarter twin, Ricardo, wasn't able to make it. I apologize if I said things that were moronic, but I can tell you one thing. They might have been moronic, but they were damn sure right because Mike is right per the logo. I wish you all the best. Be safe. I got to send some video to the insurance claim. It's been a messed up month, but your boy's still out here. And I'm still on my journey. I've heard Mike is right from people that weren't me, so today was a good day. You all have a wonderful one, and I'm out this mug.
All right. Sorry to hear about that mishap with your car, sir.
I saw life go, my brother. I saw life go.
All right. Thanks, Mike. MD, final sign off, sir.
Oh man, great show as always. Sorry for me being late, man. I was in the mud, man, trying to deal with this trailer. So it's all good, man. Very poignant points tonight in regards to the topics. That's what it is. Hey, I shall return this Thursday. MD's Thought Box Live. I'm gonna be talking about this very subject, dealing with Trump and Project 2025. I'm gonna reveal some things in regards to his ties to the Heritage Foundation, and I'll probably speak on some other stuff that's happened in the news as of late. I'm praying for everybody like down in South Texas, well southeastern Texas, with the hurricane that made landfall yesterday. I seen some reports. There's some major flooding in places like Houston and the like. I got family there, so everything checked up, everything pretty cool with them. They just dealing with a lot of water. So yeah, and whatever's relevant in the news right now, we're gonna deal with it.
Okay. All right. So check out MD, the Individualist, the MD20 YouTube channel. That's the MD20. go to that channel, and you can catch Thoughtbox live. You can catch God and Government. You can just catch a lot of great content there, thought-provoking, in-depth content on latest political news. And the next show is upcoming. It'll be MD's Return, The Truth About Trump and Project 2025. That is 7/11 at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So check out that show on the MD20 YouTube channel. All right, I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank everybody here on the panel. I'd thank Mike for coming by. Of course, shout out to Ricardo, Bones, Mr. Straight Talk, Tequila as always. She was here earlier tonight. Of course, MD20. Next week we'll be back at it again. And until then, everybody be safe. Have a great evening. And until next week, peace.
She just said a terrible thing. You know what she said? Shout it out, because I don't want to. Okay, you're not allowed to say, and I never expect to hear that from you again. She said, I never expect to hear that from you again. She said he's. That's terrible. Terrible.